Hey friends, before we dive into tonight's story, did you know that nearly 80% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed? If you're enjoying this kind of content, consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps a lot, and it keeps these long stories going. Also, I'd love to hear from you. What time is it right now where you are, and which city are you listening from tonight? And if these stories help you sleep, feel free to tap the thanks button to support the channel. It truly means a lot. All right, let's get into it. I step out of the patrol cruiser and into a world swallowed by darkness. The chain link fence around the playground creaks on its hinges as I push it open, my boots crunching on gravel scattered across the concrete. The moon is a thin sliver tonight, offering little more than a pale suggestion of light. My flashlight's beam cuts a narrow tunnel through the black, illuminating the twisted metal of the slide, the hollow seats of the swings, and there, off to one side, the small blue bicycle lying on its side, front wheel still spinning slowly from wherever it fell. My name is Daniels, Officer Daniels to be precise. 2 years on the Bergen County Sheriff's Department, nights only. You learn quickly that most calls are mundane. Drunk drivers, petty theft, the occasional domestic dispute. But tonight is different. Tonight, I'm here because 6-year-old Lily Harper didn't make it home from her friend's house. She vanished somewhere between Elm Street and this forgotten playground on the edge of Cedar Grove. I crouch beside the bicycle, careful not to step on any potential evidence. The handlebars are scratched, the paint chipped, and a single pink ribbon, probably tied to the handlebars by the little girl, dangles, swaying in a breeze I can't feel. I snap a photo with my phone for dispatch, then radio in. Daniels to dispatch, I'm at the playground off Elm. Bike located, no sign of child. Request K9 unit and additional lighting. Nothing but static answers. I check my watch, 2:23 a.m. The search began 20 minutes ago, but in these rural outskirts, time stretches and warps. Every second feels like an hour. I stand, fingertips brushing wet grass, and shine my flashlight toward the perimeter. The tree line beyond the swings is thick, oak and maple roots twisting into the earth like grasping fingers. That's where the call of a missing child often leads, into the woods. I move slowly, each step deliberate. The beam of my torch falls on a single white sneaker half buried in mud. I pause. The size looks right, small, child-sized, and the laces are untied. I snap another photo. Possible footwear at 20 feet north of bike, I say into the radio. Over. Still no answer. I swallow, heart pounding. This silence is unnatural. Even at night, the world makes noise. Crickets chirp, leaves rustle. But here it's empty, like the world is holding its breath. I listen. Somewhere behind me a swing creaks, then stops. I whirl around, flashlight beam slicing the black, but nothing moves. I tell myself it's the wind, but my gut twists. I veer toward the forest's edge. The ground slopes downward, roots jutting out like broken ribs. My flashlight flickers as I step between two trees. I curse under my breath and tap the side. Stupid LED. It steadies. I press on. The beam illuminates damp leaves, a broken toy car half buried in mud, then, silvery in the beam's glare, a small sock snagged on a branch, its mate nowhere in sight. Found sock, I whisper, voice trembling. Looks like child's, northeast perimeter 50 feet into woods. I click the radio twice, and still no response. I glance back at the playground, dim shapes looming through the trees, and realize I'm alone out here. My boots sink into a shallow puddle. Cold water seeps in. I yank my foot free and shine the light ahead. The beam catches on something. Tiny handprints pressed into the mud, leading deeper between the trunks. I kneel, breath fogging in the chill air, and trace one with my gloved finger. It's small, no more than 3 inches across. My pulse spikes. I stand and follow the prints. Branches scrape against my jacket as I push through undergrowth. The footprints stop at a fallen log. I shine the light along its length. There, a smear of pink ribbon caught on bark. I press my palm to it. Sticky, damp, probably from the child brushing past. I move around the log's end and freeze. Ahead, a silhouette. A small shape curled against the base of a large oak. My flashlight flickers again, goddamn thing. And for a moment the shape is gone, then reappears. My breath catches. I step closer. "Lily?" I call softly. No answer. I crouch, heart hammering. The shape is too still. I switch to my secondary light, stronger, warmer beam, and train it on the figure. A child, curled into herself, hugging her knees, face hidden in her arms. Her hair is tangled, clothes muddied. I exhale, relief and dread war in my chest. "She's here," I say into the radio, voice tight. "I've got visual on the child. Request medical and backup. Possible hypothermia. Over." The child doesn't move. I kneel a few feet away, lowering my voice. "Hey, Lily, it's Officer Daniels. You're safe now. Can you hear me?" She lifts her head slowly. Big, frightened eyes glisten in the flashlight's glow. Her lower lip trembles. I lower the beam so as not to blind her. "It's okay, you're okay. I'm here to help." She nods, whispering, "Mommy." I stand and extend a hand, but stop. Protocol says keep distance until you know there's no scattered leaves. I kneel and inspect the ground. The soil is disturbed in a perfect circle, like someone sat there for a time. The imprint of a small body, child-sized, pressed into the earth. But Lily was curled against the log, not here. Something about the symmetry chills me. I rise and sweep the flashlight across the trees. Every shadow seems to slither in the beam's wake. Jax barks once, sharp, and darts forward. I follow. He stops at an old tire swing hanging from a low branch. The rope is frayed, the tires scuffed. I test it with my boot. It moves freely, but there's no sign of recent use, no mud, no prints on the tire. "Why leave these here?" I murmur. "What are we missing?" Marquez touches my shoulder. "You good to keep going?" I nod. "Yeah, let's map this. Could be a pattern." We spread out with the deputies in grid formation, beams crisscrossing the forest floor. Every snapped twig underfoot echoes in the silent woods. The K9 team sweeps a 50-foot radius. I mark each find. A scuffed doll shoe under a fern. A smudge of pink ribbon on a low-hanging limb. The imprint of a small hand on a fallen log. Different from Lily's. Shallower, as if someone smaller pressed there. Back at the playground, I chalk the locations on a whiteboard in the command trailer. Bike at point A, sneaker at B, toy car at C, sock at D, circle imprint at E, tire swing at F. The pattern forms a loose spiral leading from the playground deeper into the woods, then curving back toward the clearing. I connect the dots with a dry erase marker, lean back, and rub my eyes. Deputies murmur in the trailer's rear, sipping coffee. The fluorescent lights hum. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the trailer's thin aluminum siding. I swallow. I glance at the spiral. "Why?" I whisper. Marquez leans in. "You ever think someone's playing games with us?" I look at him. Maybe, or it's something else. Something we don't understand yet. He nods, uneasy. I step back outside for fresh air. The forest looms, black and silent. I flick on my flashlight. The beam lands on the ribbon tangled in the branch. Still there, untouched. I reach for it. The ribbon slips through my fingers like water. I frown. That came from her bike. Suddenly, Jax's bark shatters the night. I sprint toward the sound, Marquez at my heels. Jax stands over a shallow depression beneath a cluster of saplings. This one is deeper, maybe a foot across, and lined with scattered leaves. At its center, something dark glistens. I kneel, heart thudding, and brush leaves aside. A small metallic object, a locket, tarnished silver, its clasp broken. I pick it up on gloved fingertips, engraved on the back in childish scrawl, L.H. Lily Harper. My blood runs cold. I glance up through the trees. Moonlight flickers on metal playground equipment in the distance. The locket shouldn't be here. It should be with Lily. She never mentioned losing it. She clutched my jacket when I found her. Marquez's voice cracks over the radio. Sergeant wants an update. I glance at the trailer. Tell him we've got a locket at Point G, and we need a full forensic team out here now. As I stand, the forest exhales around me. Leaves drift down like ash. My flashlight flickers. I tap it again. The beam steadies, but for a moment I swear I saw a figure, small, crouched, in the shadows beyond the clearing. Gone when I blinked. I pocket the locket and lead Jax back to the trailer. We wait under harsh fluorescent light. Deputies pacing. The forensic team arrives with evidence markers and kits. They frown at the spiral on the whiteboard. I watch them fan out, snapping photos, dusting for prints. Inside the trailer, I pull off my boots and rub my calves. My radio crackles. Daniels, Chief wants to see you. I follow Marquez back to the station's main house, a converted farmhouse. The chief's office is lit, blinds drawn. He stands by a map, finger tracing the perimeter. His face is grim. You found her, he says without preamble. Good work. He turns, eyes on me. But this, he nods at the map, is not over. I swallow. What do you mean? He folds his hands. We've had 3 similar cases in the past decade. Same pattern. Child disappears, belongings left in spiral pattern, child returned, but not before something else shows up. Locket, toy, garment that wasn't theirs originally, always that spiral. My stomach drops. I'd never heard of it. He nods. Most were hushed up. Families too terrified to speak. You're the first to connect the dots. He taps the map. This pattern matches cases from 2008, 2012, and 2017. All in a 50-mile radius. All near playgrounds or schoolyards adjacent to woods. I feel the air thin. But Lily, she's safe. He looks at me steadily. For now. But the pattern always repeats. After the child returns, there's a gap, weeks, months, then another disappearance. Always someone connected to the first child, sibling, friend, neighbor. And the spiral begins again. A cold knot tightens in my gut. You think it'll happen again? He shrugs. I don't know what it is, a predator, ritual, something else, but it never stops. He slides a file across the desk. Photos of 3 children, faces pale, eyes wide. Beside each, a spiral of evidence. Bike, shoe, locket, ribbon. I recognize the playground equipment in one photo, the same slide we parked under. I glance up. You mean, we're part of it now? He meets my eyes. You interrupted it. Lily's safe for now, but until we understand the why, the spiral continues. You need to watch and document everything, any new finds, any strange occurrences. I nod, swallowing hard. I pocket the file. I'll keep the logs. He places a hand on my shoulder. Daniels, be careful. This thing, whatever it is, knows how to hide in darkness. I step out into the night again, the file heavy in my pocket. The playground looms behind me, empty swings swaying in the breeze. The ribbon on the branch flutters. I look skyward. The moon has vanished behind clouds. The darkness feels endless. I pull out my notebook and scribble, "Spiral pattern confirmed." Locket found at point G. Cases in 2008, 2012, 2017. Next anniversary due in 6 months. I pause, heart hammering. Anniversary? Because Lily went missing on April 26th. The same date, years apart. I look at the tree line. The forest seems to breathe, waiting. I close my eyes. In the silence, I hear it, the faintest sound of a child's laughter, distant and hollow, drifting on the wind. I open my eyes. Nothing, but I know it's there. The headlights of the K9 unit's truck fade as I step back into the forest. The door thudding shut behind me like a gunshot in the stillness. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves is stronger now, mingled with the faint metallic tang of the locket in my pocket. Every breath feels heavy, weighted by the knowledge that this place isn't done with us. I switch on my flashlight and signal Marquez, who joins me with Jax at heel. The dog's ears are perked, nose quivering as he sniffs at the base of the oak where we found Lily. I clear my throat. We sweep from point G outward, methodical, no gaps. Marquez nods. Grid formation again? Yeah, 30-foot spacing. Call out any finds. I tap my radio. All units, formation Alpha. Spiral center at playground, move outward. The deputies fan out, boots whispering on leaf-littered ground. My beam scans the trees. Gnarled trunks, low branches, pockets of shadow that seem to shift when I'm not looking. I swallow and force my legs to move. At this distance from the clearing, the only light is my torch and the sliver of moon above the canopy. Jax pauses at a rotten stump. He sniffs, then scratches frantically. I kneel. Beneath the stump's overhang is a child-sized mitten, pink with a floral pattern, soaked and muddied, but different from Lily's. I photograph it, bag it as evidence. I feel a chill. Whose mitten was this? Not Lily's, she had no pair. Someone else's child had been here too. I stand and sweep the beam outward. A deputy's voice crackles. Deputy Lowe found something at Grid Echo 3. I move toward the call. Lowe stands over a shallow depression lined with smooth stones, a crude circle built into the forest floor. In the center lies a broken music box, once painted white, now cracked and waterlogged. I kneel, prying the lid open. Inside, the gears are rusted, but a tiny ballerina remains, poised mid-twirl. I let the lid close gently. Music box, I say. Point H. I mark it in my notebook. The spiral on the whiteboard in the trailer just grew another arm. Marquez appears at my shoulder. This is ritualistic? I nod. Patterns clear, personal item, intentional placement, spiral outward. Someone's leaving us clues, or mocking us. We press on. The grid expands into dense brush. Every crack of a twig sounds like footsteps. My heart hammers. I think of Lily's face in the cruiser, her tear-streaked cheeks, the way she clung to my jacket. And I think of the file the chief showed me. 3 children, 3 spirals, 3 unresolved mysteries beyond the return of the kids. A soft whimper halts me. I freeze. Jax's hackles rise. I swing the beam toward the sound. A small hollow beneath a thicket. Inside, a scrap of yellow fabric catches the light. A ribbon from a raincoat. I slip through the branches and crouch. Underneath tangled vines is a child's rain slicker, bright yellow, size too big. The hood is torn, no name tag, I bag it. I radio in, possible raincoat point I, no child present. Silence on the frequency, then, copy, Daniels. I rise. The forest seems to close in. I glance at Marquez. His face is pale. We share the same thought. What if Lily had never been found? What else might we uncover? Hours pass in a blur of evidence collection. a broken wristwatch at point J, its hands frozen at 2:26 a.m., a single white glove at point K, perched on a low branch as if placed deliberately, muddy footprints leading away, then vanishing. Each find tightens the knot in my gut. By the time we reach a point M, 200 feet from the playground edge, I'm exhaustion numbed. My flashlight battery flickers. I swap it for my backup. The new beam is stronger but colder. I catch movement. Deputy Singh shining her light on a dark shape draped over a fallen log. We hurry over. It's a small teddy bear, threadbare and damp, face flattened. Its left eye is missing. I pick it up gingerly. The bear's one good eye stares up at me, unblinking. I shudder and tuck it into an evidence bag. Point L, I whisper. Marquez lowers his voice. Daniels, look. He points deeper into the woods, where the trees part to reveal a narrow path leading downhill. At the mouth of the path, scrawled in the damp soil with a stick, is a spiral. A perfect replica of the pattern on our board, carved into the earth. My stomach lurches. I kneel and trace the line with my finger. That's new. He nods. We follow it? I hesitate. The path is dark, twisting, sloping away from the playground. But the spiral demands to be followed. It's an invitation or a trap. Jax? I murmur. The dog steps forward, nose low. He sniffs at the spiral's edge, then looks up at me, tail stiff. He's ready. I stand. Okay, we follow. We walk down the path. The spiral on the ground narrows into a line, leading between two massive oaks whose branches entwine overhead, forming a natural arch. Under the arch, the air is colder. My breath fogs in the beam's glare. The forest floor here is carpeted in moss, soft, silent, and the spiral re-emerges, faintly etched into the green, winding toward a shallow depression at the base of a third tree. I crouch. Inside the depression is a single object, a child's drawing, half buried in moss. I pick it up carefully. The page is damp but legible, a crude sketch of a playground, a stick figure girl on a swing, and next to her, a larger stick figure with arms outstretched. Beneath, in childish scrawl, "Play with me." My blood runs cold. I shine the light around. No other items, just the drawing, no footprints leading away. It's as if the picture was dropped and no one left. Someone wants us to know this is deliberate, Marquez says, voice hushed. I nod, heart pounding. We need to get this back to the trailer, forensics on paper. We retrace our steps uphill. The spiral on the path fades behind us, swallowed by roots and leaves. The depression under the tree seems to sigh as we leave, closing itself. Back at the playground, the command trailer is alive with activity. Forensic techs examine each item we recovered, photographing, bagging, tagging. The whiteboard spiral now sports a dozen labeled points. The chief stands by, watching. When I enter, he gestures. He holds the drawing. This changes things. I step closer. The sketch is childlike. Naive lines, simple shapes. But the playground in the drawing is unmistakably ours. The slide's angle, the swing set's spacing, even the fence's broken section. Someone drew this from memory, or while sitting here. He continues. In previous cases, we never found a drawing. Always objects. But a drawing, that's communication. I feel tension coil in my chest. A message. Yes, he says, but who's the sender? Child? Predator? Something else? Marquez clears his throat. Chief, the drawing was in a spot where no adult footprints were found. Only the child's and ours. It was placed there after we passed. The chief nods slowly. So it's active. The spiral resets after each discovery. Someone, or something, is orchestrating this in real time. I swallow. What do we do? He folds his arms. We protect Lily, and we prepare. Because whatever's behind this will come again. And next time, it won't just be a drawing. It might be the child. I glance at Marquez. His jaw is clenched. We both know the truth. The forest holds secrets we can't begin to fathom. And we've only scratched the surface. Outside, the wind rustles through the swings. The playground lights flicker. I step out into the night, pulling my jacket tight. Jax pads up beside me, nose to the ground. I kneel and brush my hand over the moss where the drawing lay. It's undisturbed now, no spiral, no depression, just green quiet. I stand and look back at the playground. The slide gleams, the fence stands silent. The mist curls around the swings like ghostly arms. The moon peeks from behind clouds, casting a pale glow. I close my eyes and breathe deep. The forest exhales in response, a soft, almost satisfied whisper. I open my eyes. The spiral on the whiteboard haunts my mind. The drawing's plea, "Play with me," echoes. I know what I have to do. I pocket the sketch and turn back toward the trailer. Tomorrow, we plan. Tonight, we watch. The forest seems to lean in closer as we depart the trailer. Its dark mass pressing against the bright circle of the playground lights behind us. I lead the way down the muddy service road, Jax padding silently at my heel. Every footstep echoes in my chest. The dog's steady, breathing my only company. The locket and the drawing rest in my jacket pocket, cold metal and damp paper pressing against my ribs like reminders of something ancient and unresolved. We've posted deputies at each compass point around the playground, and the K9 unit is sweeping ever wider arcs. But I know the spiral doesn't end at the clear-cut edges of floodlights and asphalt. It extends into shadow, under logs, inside hollows, beneath the surface where nightmares coil. We need to chase it down before it spirals again. Marquez falls into step beside me. His face is drawn, eyes haunted. Daniels, you think Lily's safe until what? Until it comes back for her? I tighten my grip on the flashlight. We don't know its rules. We know pattern, disappearance, spiral of objects, return, then waiting period, then spiral again. I glance at the tree line. If we can predict the next turn, maybe we can intercept before another child vanishes. He exhales sharply. And the drawing? That message? Play with me. What if it's bait? I swallow. Then we don't approach alone. We set a perimeter, cameras, motion sensors. We treat the forest like a crime scene in reverse. Cover every inch before the spiral can shift again. We reach the edge of the lights and slip into the woods. Branches drip with dew. The air is cold enough to sting lungs. I switch off the beam for a moment, letting my eyes adjust. There's a profound darkness here, the kind that presses on your eyelids, that makes sound seem distant. Then I flip the light back on, and the world snaps into fragments of leaves and trunks. Point N will be over that knoll, I say, pointing to a gentle rise where marsh grass gives way to oak. Set up the trail cameras. Angle them on the likely paths. I want continuous infrared coverage from here to the clearing. Marquez nods, pulling 2 small cameras from his vest. He straps one to a sapling, the other to a low branch. Each click of a mount feels like arming a silent sentinel. I crouch to inspect the ground. The mud is churned with dozens of footprints. My own, Marquez's, the K9 team's. But beneath them, faint depressions form a second spiral. Tiny, so small they could be insect tracks, or the imprint of something that moves on hands and knees. I trace one with my fingertip. It feels almost like skin. Look at this, I murmur, voice low. Marquez crouches beside me. The tracks circle tighter here, narrowing toward a hollow at the tree base. Inside the hollow lies a scrap of paper, a torn fragment of a child's comic book page, bright colors dulled by mud. I bag it. Comic page, .0. I call softly into my radio. Possible third-party item. Marquez frowns. Why leave that? It doesn't match Lily's things. I shake my head. That's the question. Is it part of the pattern? Or is someone else, another child, another victim, leaving breadcrumbs of their own? We move on, deeper. The spiral on the ground guides us. A wide curve of broken twigs, disturbed earth, scattered leaves, all arranged in an ever-tightening coil. It leads us downhill, where the canopy opens onto a forgotten ravine. A trickle of water runs through, forming a shallow creek. The beam catches on something metallic. A child's wristwatch half submerged in the mud, its face cracked, hands frozen at 2:17, exactly the time Lily vanished. I pocket the watch. Point P. My voice sounds brittle. Timestamp matches disappearance. Marquez shines his light upstream. The creek winds into darkness. I step carefully to a fallen log bridging the banks. On the far side, the spiral resumes in the damp sand. A ring of tiny stones, each no larger than a marble. They form a perfect circle around a smooth pebble painted red. It's odd to see something so deliberate in the wild. I step into the circle, heart thundering. The pebbles crunch under my boot. I pick up the red stone. It's warm, as though it absorbed heat from some hidden source. I hold it up. No markings, just an oily sheen that reflects the flashlight beam like an eye. Red pebble, point Q, I whisper. This one doesn't feel natural. Marquez frowns. Feels malicious. His voice is tight. I nod. We gather everything, then we analyze patterns, colors, materials, timestamps. Somehow, this spiral is a message board. Each find a word. He glances at the ravine's dark mouth. Do you want to follow further? I hesitate. The spiral is compelling, as if urging me on. I glance back uphill. The playground lights are tiny pinpricks in the distance. The world beyond those lights is vast, uncharted. And this spiral draws me deeper, like a lure. Let's push a little further, I decide. But set boundaries. Two-man team only. No one goes off-grid. Marquez taps his radio to relay orders. Jack sits quietly, ears forward, watching the darkness. I crouch by the pebble circle and trace the stones with a gloved finger. At the center, the red pebble seems to pulse, as if alive. A soft breeze stirs. Leaves flutter. For a moment, I think I hear a child's giggle, tiny, distant, mocking. I jerk my head up. Nothing. Only the steady drip of water and the beam of my flashlight probing the bank. We move, I say, voice firm, though my gut clenches. I tuck the pebble into an evidence pouch. We climb onto the log and cross to the other side. The spiral continues up the slope, crossing a carpet of ferns, winding toward a circle of birch trees. Their white bark gleams in the beam, like pillars around a hidden altar. In the center of the birch ring is a lump of dark fabric, a jacket, child-sized, soaked through. I approach slowly. The jacket's arms are outstretched, as though someone laid it out carefully. The fabric is slick with mud and something darker. I hesitate, then peel it open. Inside, there's a photograph laminated in plastic. A family portrait of 4. A mother, father, older brother, little girl in a blue jacket. Beneath, someone scratched a spiral into the lamination. Lily's face is smiling, oblivious. Her parents and brother stand behind her, arms around each other. I feel bile rise. Family photo, point R, I whisper into the radio. Tag for prints. Marquez steps closer. That's Lily's family. How? Why? I shake my head. They didn't give us that. Someone else did. I trace the spiral scratched over Lily's image. It's coarse, angry. My radio crackles. Sergeant to Daniels. Status? I swallow. Daniels. We have multiple new items. Comic page, red pebble, family photo, all in a secondary spiral leading deeper into ravine. Recommend tactical team with the sonar cams to map cave-ins and hollows. Copy that, the sergeant replies. ETA 10 minutes. I end the transmission and slide the photo into an evidence bag. The birch ring stands silent around us. The forest beyond seems to hold its breath. Jax growls low. I sweep the beam upward. Between the trees, I see, imagine, a small figure standing just at the edge of light. A little girl in a blue jacket, face turned away. She stands perfectly still. I clear my throat. Lily? The figure dissolves into shadow. My heart slams. Damn it, I mutter. Marquez grips my arm. We shouldn't be here alone. I nod. Right. I touch the photo bag. We retreat to LZ, wait for backup. We turn back toward the log. Each step out feels heavier, as if the forest resists our departure. The spiral underfoot vanishes into leaves. The birch ring recedes, a phantom. When we reach the log bridge, I look back. The jackets and pebbles and stones are gone. No evidence left of our finds. Only the mud-smeared slope remains. I whisper, they erased it. Marquez's flashlight jitters. Everything we collected, did it disappear? I pat my jacket pocket. The locket and the drawing are still there, but the pebble feels smooth in its pouch and the photo's lamination is intact. The comic page, yes, it's there too. But the jacket and pebble and stones remain missing from the scene. I radio in. Daniels, findings at points O through R secured, but site at Birch Circle shows no recoverable items. Recommend forensic staff review chain of custody. Scene may be compromised by environmental factor or something else. Dispatch crackles. Copy Daniels. Forensics notified. We climb the slope, boots slipping in the mud. The creek's drip fades behind us. By the time we reach the clearing, tactical lights slice through the darkness. A small squad in camo and headlamps fans out, dragging cable-mounted infrared cameras. The forest hums with technology. Sensors, mics, motion detectors. We watch as they set gear. I catch the eye of the tech leader. He nods. I hold up the evidence bags. He motions to a sealed table inside the trailer. "Bring them in," he says. I step into the trailer, heart pounding. The harsh fluorescent glow illuminates rows of equipment and maps. I place the locket, drawing, watch, comic page, red pebble, and photo on the table. The techs photograph each, bag and tag them. The chief reappears, gaze heavy. He studies the items. These we can track, the others. He jerks his head toward the forest camera feeds. Are ephemeral, they vanish. I nod. Like the spiral itself. He pinches the bridge of his nose. All right, we hold position until dawn. Then we analyze the data. Any movement in the periphery, we converge. I glance at the monitors. Ghostly night vision silhouettes of deputies sweeping. The K-9 team probing shadows. Tactical cameras trained on the ravine mouth. On one screen, the spiral on the forest floor flickers as leaves shift. Another shows the playground, silent and waiting. I turn away. My reflection in the glass is gaunt. I think of Lily asleep under medical care, of her mother's tear-streaked gratitude. I think of the file cases from 2008, 2012, 2017, and now 2025. The spiral turns roughly every 5 years. The next is due soon. I slip out of the trailer into the night chill. Marquez waits, arms crossed. Jax sits by his side. I take a breath. They're watching the cameras, I say, but what about the forest beyond their range? Marquez shrugs. We can't light every shadow. I look upward. The moon has broken free of clouds, pale and indifferent. Beneath its glow, the playground and the ravine and the endless trees are one continuous black canvas. I pull out my notebook. Under Section 4 heading, I write, Points O to R evidence secured. Birch circle items vanished. Spiral observed, leading into ravine. Tactical cameras deployed, monitor feeds active. Next pattern check, 5-year anniversary. I close the book. We hold until dawn, I say. Marquez nods. Then what? I sweep my flashlight over the forest floor, where fallen leaves swirl in a sudden gust. Then we decide whether to follow the spiral into daylight, or let it rest until it wakes again. He breathes out. Either way, we're in this for the long haul. I look at Jax, who tilts his head, ears alert. The dog senses it too, the spiral's promise and threat. I turn back to the ravine, its mouth yawning like a secret. Tomorrow, I murmur, we go deeper. And tonight we wait with every shadow, every silent swing, every hidden spiral, wondering what will emerge when the forest finally exhales. I slip back into the woods before dawn, the air humming with anticipation. The tactical team's infrared strobes blink behind me, casting the trees in sickly green light, but I leave them behind. This leg of the spiral I run solo. My boots sink into the damp leaf litter. Every exhale hangs in the air like ghost smoke. Jax trails beside me, silent except for the soft padding of paws. My flashlight is clipped off. I navigate by the pale glow of the waxing moon and the faint red LEDs of the trail cameras I set at point N. I follow the memory of the spiral's curve underfoot, a pathway worn into the earth by unseen hands. It slopes downward toward the ravine, but before I reach that gully, I branch off into a narrower spur, the line traced by comic page debris at point O. My gloves brush aside a tangle of ferns, and there it is again, a fragment of glossy paper, this one showing a cartoon spaceship. The edges are chewed, as though an animal gnawed at it, but the printed ink is intact. I slide it into an evidence pouch. My heart hammers. Each scrap, each token is a word and a message I have yet to decode. The spaceship cartoon implies a child's imagination. Escape, flight, other worlds. Why drop this here away from Lily's things? I glance upward. Branches interlace into a vaulted ceiling, and through a gap I see a swirl of clouds racing the moon's surface. The world feels upside down. I trek onward, leaving the comic behind. The spiral steepens. Soon I'm wading through waist-high ferns, the ground slick with mud. My jacket catches on brambles. I tear free with a curse. Jax pauses, sniffing at a low-hanging branch. I crouch, another mitten, this one, gray wool, perched on a twig. It's adult-sized. I frown. It doesn't fit any child's trail. I bag it, labeling Point S, adult mitten. Whoever orchestrates this ritual is toying with scales, childhood items, adult items, switching sizes to disorient us. I press on. The ravine's gurgle grows louder. I pick my way down the bank, boots sliding on wet shale. At the creek bed, the frozen wristwatch from Point J lies half buried in mud. Now I discover its twin, another watch, this one a child's digital model, strap broken, face cracked. Its display reads 12:00, blinking zeros. I scoop it up. 2 watches, one stopped at 2:26 a.m., one reset to midnight. Time is both static and cyclical here. A sudden snap, Jax barks, low and urgent. I swing my light toward him. He stands at the base of a hollow sycamore, hackles raised. The trunk is split open, revealing a cavity just big enough for a small body. I shine inside, mud, leaves, and at the far end, a scrap of red fabric. the cuff of a child's sweatshirt. I lean in, careful. It's soaked, crusted with grime. I bag it as point T red cuff. My chest tightens. Lily's jacket had red trim. Is this part of it or something else? I step back. The sycamore's hollow yawns like a mouth. I imagine a child curled inside, drawing breath in the cold dark. My flashlight flickers. I tap it. The beam steadies. But for a heartbeat, I'm sure I saw a small handprint on the inside bark. Too high for Lily, too clean for the swampy mud. Then it's gone. I blink, only wood. My radio crackles unexpectedly. Daniels? Status? Sergeant Walker's voice is clipped. I jolt, fumbling the cuff in its bag. Point T secured. I'm moving toward the Birchring area to rendezvous with tactical team. Copy. ETA 2 minutes. I stow the packet. Roger. I backtrack up the bank, boots skidding, heart thundering. Jax leaps onto my leg, as if urging me onward. We climb until the forest floor levels out. The tactical lights flicker ahead. I step into the clearing, blinking against the harsh glare. Marquez is there, kneeling by the birch circle site. The tactical squad stands by, night vision goggles pushed up on helmets, infrared, cameras humming. I kneel beside Marquez. Hollow secured, found red cuff. I produce the bag. He examines it. Matches nothing from Lily's gear, could be leftover. Or a lure, I say. He nods. Chief wants to run a sweep of the ravine with thermal scopes at first light. I glance back into the trees. The ravine's mouth yawns dark. Good. I rub my temples. Fatigue claws at me. Anything on camera yet? Marquez gestures at a handheld monitor. Nothing but deer and raccoons so far. We did catch Jax's nose work at Point S, image blurs, but you can see him sniffing the mitten. Then he backs away, hackles up. I frown. We should review that footage, maybe slow motion, see if something else moved. He nods. On it. I step away, pulling my notebook. Section 5. Points O to T recovered. Hollow sycamore find, twin watches, adult mitten, comic and spaceship page, note patterns, timepieces, clothing, toys, write down GPS coordinates, circle back to playground after dawn. As I write, a twig snaps behind me. I whip around. Jack stands alert, staring down the slope into the ferns. I shine my flashlight. Nothing. But the beam settles on a small mound of earth where the spiral seemed to loop back on itself. I kneel. The soil is disturbed. I brush away leaves, a fossilized footprint. Too large for a child, too small for an adult. It's roughly the size of my palm, with 5 stubby toes splayed. It's neither human nor canine. My breath catches. I bag the soil sample. Point U, anomalous print. I stand, heart slamming. The forest presses in. I glance up. The moon is gone behind clouds. Darkness is absolute. And then I hear it, a low humming, rhythmic, like a child singing off key somewhere far below. It sends ice through my veins. Jax's ears flatten. I strain to locate it. The hum drifts downhill toward the creek, then fades. Marquez, I hiss, sweeping the beam. Did you hear? He's beside me in a heartbeat. Hear what? I point. He listens. The forest is silent again, maybe the creek. Too melodic. I shake my head, like a lullaby. He gulps. We should pull back. Not yet. I step toward the ferns. We follow it. He hesitates, then follows. Jax leads, nose to ground. The humming resumes, faint, guiding us like a beacon. We hurry, pushing through brambles toward the sound. The ground slopes gently downward. The spongy moss underfoot gives way to slick mud. I slip once, catch myself on a sapling. Then we break into a small clearing we haven't seen before. Moonlight filters through a gap overhead, illuminating a natural stone basin. a shallow pool fed by a trickle of water. The pool's surface is mirror smooth, reflecting the moon. Around its rim lie dozens of small objects, marbles, buttons, smooth river stones painted bright colors, a single doll's glass eye, a child's broken crayon stub. They form a perfect ring around the pool, a waterborne spiral. I step closer, heart pounding. Something about the arrangement is hypnotic. The humming is louder here. Soft, childlike, coming from the pool's center, though no speaker is visible. The water ripples, as if something moves beneath. "Holy shit," Marquez whispers. I kneel at the rim and pick up a painted stone. It's warm, warmer than any outside temperature could justify. I hold it over the pool. Heat radiates from it, steam hissing as I bring it close to the water. The hum intensifies, resonating in my skull. Jax whines, backing away. I glance at him, unsettled. The dog's fur is bristled. I drop the stone. It rolls back into the pool and sinks, vanishing instantly. The ripples fade. The humming cuts off with a soft click, as though someone turned off a toy. Silence crashes in. I swallow. "Collect everything," I say, voice tight. "But don't touch the water." Marquez snaps photos while I mark the edge of the clearing. I bag a sampling of the stones, buttons, marbles, everything that isn't organic debris. I leave one marble behind, a deep cobalt blue that seems to absorb the moonlight. As I work, I feel eyes on me. I glance up. At the far edge of the clearing, half hidden in shadow, stands a small silhouette. A child's figure, arms folded, head tilted. I freeze. The figure does not move. I flick my light. The beam catches on something white. Bare ankles. "Lily?" I whisper. The figure vanishes with a soft pop, like a soap bubble bursting. One moment present, the next gone. I spin, heart racing. Only trees, only the tranquil pool. I scramble to my feet. "We need to go," I say. Marquez nods, eyes wide. We back out of the clearing, leaving the pool's spiral undisturbed. I cast one last look. The water is still, black as ink. The ring of tokens glitters faintly. When we emerge onto the service road, tactical lights flare. The sergeant strides toward us. "What did you find?" I swallow. Point U, anomalous print. Point 5, pool spiral with assorted child and adult items. Humming source unknown, possible apparition sighting. He blinks. "All right, we secure the perimeter. No one in or out without me knowing. You two debrief at command." I nod. Jax leaps up, happy to be out of the dark. Marquez offers me his shoulder. We trudge back to the trailer. Inside, I dump evidence on the table. Mitten, watches, comic page, red cuff, anomalous print sample, dozens of marbles and buttons. The techs gape. The chief arrives, eyes narrowing. "This pool spiral," he says softly. "That's new. Never seen water used like that." I lean forward. It's evolving. The pattern grows more complex. Earth spiral, stone spiral, water spiral. Next could be air, something intangible. He nods gravely. We've got maybe hours before first light. Then the forest changes. We analyze now. I pull the cobalt marble from my pocket. It seems to pulse in my palm. I place it on the table. And we keep our eyes open. Because something walked here. Something that wants to play. The chief stares at the marble. "Let's hope we're ready." I step back, breathing hard. My notebook is open to section 5. I write one final line. "Lullaby in the ravine, unknown origin, child apparition, ritual pool spiral." I close the book. Dawn is creeping on the horizon. The woods beyond the trailer windows are a silhouette of silent witnesses. I look at Jax, then at Marquez. This isn't over. They both know. The first pale light of dawn brushes the treetops as I slip back into the woods for the final leg. My legs burn with fatigue. 4 sections of this spiral have already tested every ounce of stamina I possess, but I push on. Jax pads beside me, silent and watchful. Marquez trails a few yards behind, radio in hand, ready to call for backup at the slightest provocation. The forest is alive with dawn birdsong, but beneath it lies a deeper pulse, the echo of the spiral's lure, calling us inward one last time. I glance at my notebook. Section 6. Follow the spiral beyond the pool. Find its center, confront whatever lies there, then withdraw. The spiral on the ground here is faint, broken twigs and flattened grass rather than distinct objects, but I can trace its curve. It winds uphill, away from the ravine, toward a stand of ancient pines whose trunks lean inward, forming a natural dome. The air grows colder, and the humidity from the creek gives way to a chill that seeps into my bones. We climb the gentle slope. The spiral tightens, guiding us between the pines. Needles underfoot muffle our footsteps. My breath puffs in white clouds. The world narrows to the circle we trace, the waking sky overhead, and the rhythmic beat of Jax's paws. At the dome's center, the spiral converges on a single point, a smooth stone altar, a flat slab half buried in moss, edges worn by time. I step to the slab, heart hammering. The forest hushes. Even the birdsong recedes. I kneel and brush away moss. The stone's surface is carved with the spiral motif matching every pattern we've seen. At its center is a shallow depression, stained dark. I shine my light into it, water pooled in the hollow, rippled by unseen breath. At the bottom lies a single object, Lily's pink ribbon, the one from her bike's handlebars. It floats on the water as though placed with care. I reach out trembling and lift the ribbon. It's damp, heavy with dew. I wind it around my gloved finger. The ribbon's fibers feel warm, pulsing. I glance up at Marquez. He stands at the dome's edge, jaw clenched. Jax sits beside him, ears flat, watching the altar as if expecting movement. I set the ribbon in my evidence bag. Point W, altar ribbon, I whisper. This is the spiral's heart. Silence stretches. Then, the softest echo, a child's laughter, clear and innocent, drifting through the pines. Lily's voice. Play with me, Officer Daniels. It circles the dome, bouncing off trunks. My blood runs cold. I spin, flashlight beam slicing the gloom, but see nothing. The slab's depression ripples as though something moved beneath. Did you hear that? I gasp. Marquez nods, face pale. We need to leave, but I can't tear my eyes from the altar stone. The spiral carved into it seems to shift under the light, lines warping like water. A whisper curls in my mind. Come closer. All you have to do is join the spiral. My instincts scream to flee, but something stronger holds me. Curiosity, duty, fear. I place my palm on the cold stone. The carving's grooves press into my glove. Suddenly, the laughter stops. The depression's water is still. The forest exhales. And then a hand, small, pale, shoots out of the water, gripping the slab's edge. My heart seizes. A second hand emerges. I stare, frozen, as a little girl's head breaks the surface. Tangled hair plastered to her face, eyes wide and unseeing. Lily, or someone who looks just like her, drags herself up onto the stone, water sluicing off her jacket. She stands, dripping, staring at me with an expression that is all fear and pleading. "Help me," she whispers, voice hollow, echoing. I step back, stumbling. "Lily?" She tilts her head. The moonlight glints off her eyes. They're black pools now, devoid of life. "Come play," she says, voice distant. She steps forward, water dripping onto the moss. Each footstep leaves a wilted patch of grass, as if the life drains where she treads. "Marquez," I shout, "get her out of there." But Marquez is frozen, eyes locked on the apparition. Jax growls, hackles raised, low in his throat. The girl's lips curve into a sad smile. She extends a hand toward me. The ribbon in my pocket pulses, as if drawn to her. I fight a surge of revulsion and pity. "Lily, it's okay, you're safe." I take a hesitant step forward. Her head tilts, and the world shudders. The carving on the altar glows faintly, an otherworldly phosphorescence tracing the spiral's lines. The girl's form blurs, elongates, and the slab tilts. Water spills over the edge in a waterfall that vanishes into the forest floor. The entire dome seems to spin. Marquez grabs my arm. "Daniels, now!" I rip my hand from the stone. The slab levels with a thump, and the girl vanishes. No splash, no sound, just empty depression and dripping moss. The spiral on the stone glimmers and then fades. The forest exhales. We stand trembling. The altar is inert, just a mossy slab. The rising sun's rays pierce the canopy, illuminating dust motes. The dome's hush breaks as a woodpecker raps a distant beat. I check my watch, 4:26 a.m., exactly 2 hours after Lily's disappearance. The same numbers etched on every frozen watch. Marquez kneels, gathering samples. Slivers of moss, a drop of altar water in a vial, a fragment of carved stone. I take one last look at the spiral carving. It seems impossibly ancient, older than any human ritual I know. "Let's go," I whisper. We retreat down the slope. Behind us, the pines arch overhead like silent sentinels. The forest seems to sigh, closing the dome. The trail cameras hum as we pass their infrared glow. Jax lopes ahead, shaking off dew. When we reach the playground clearing, the world is fully awake. Birds calling, deputies sipping coffee, the sky pale gold. Lily's mother stands with her brother, hugging her as she steps out of the medical van. She sees me and runs forward, gratitude and relief flooding her face. Lily looks healthy, oblivious to the ordeal, her jacket clean, ribbon tied neatly on her bike. I force a smile. "She's fine," I tell her. "Safe." Her mother squeezes my hand. "Thank you." Lily waves shyly. I nod, but my eyes drift to the tree line. The forest is silent. No laughter drifts from the pines. No spiral marks the ground. In my pocket, the pink ribbon lies still. The other items, wristwatch, mitten, comic page, pebble, photo, stones, lure. They rest in evidence bags back at the trailer. And the altar's water sample glimmers in its vial, a single drop glowing faintly in the morning light. I tuck the ribbon into its bag and close the zipper. The truth settles in my gut. The spiral is complete for now, but the ritual is not over. The pattern will awaken again, on the next anniversary, or when another child rides a bike under a sliver of moon. I look at Lily pedaling away with her brother, laughing in the sunlight. I swallow. "Stay close," I murmur. I turn back to the woods where shadows lie even in daylight. The pines stand silent, guardians of a secret older than any of us. I know I'll return whenever the spiral stirs, because whatever this is, it doesn't end with 6 sections. It's an endless coil, turning through time, gathering tokens and children's laughter, weaving some dark purpose. And I am its witness and its keeper. I walk away, leaving the playground behind. The forest watches me go. In the undergrowth, unseen, the spiral's first twig shifts. A single pink ribbon flutters to the ground. And somewhere, a child's laughter echoes, soft, inviting, unresolved. I step off the cruiser into a hush so complete it feels like the world has been muted. The playground lights are dead, the lone bulb above the entrance flickering before dying altogether. My boots sink slightly into the dew-softened mulch around the swing set. The metal chains hang motionless, yet I can almost hear them creak in the weight of absence. I sweep my flashlight across the empty slide, across the overturned tricycle lying half buried in grass, and finally land on the small blue bicycle, training wheels still attached, lying on its side by the sandbox. Its handlebars are turned at an awkward angle, as if someone dropped it in a hurry. I clear my throat, radioing in, Unit 12 at scene. Playgrounds clear of civilians. Found bicycle at center. Beginning search. The reply crackles, distant. Copy. Unit 12. Backup en route. I tuck the mic away and breathe. Cedar Grove never feels this silent. Not even at 3 in the morning. I crouch beside the bike and run a gloved finger along the tire tread. Little footprints, barely discernible, press into the mulch beside it. I trace the outline, size small, maybe an 8-year-old's footprint. Fresh. I stand and follow the trail west, toward the tree line where the oak shadows gather like silent watchers. My flashlight flickers. The beam dances over damp leaves and broken twigs. The radio spits out another update. K9 unit ETA 2 minutes. I nod, even though no one sees it. I take a deep breath, tasting the cool night air laced with pine and something else. Something metallic, like the tang of fear. I move slowly, every sense alert. A branch snaps behind me. Too sharp, too deliberate. I pivot, gun drawn, flashlight slicing through the dark. Nothing, just empty air and the soft rustle of leaves. Easy, Daniels, I murmured to myself. Kid's out here somewhere. You'll find him. I step off the faint path and onto crushed earth. My flashlight picks out a small red sneaker wedged against a root. I kneel and examine it. Scuffed, but intact. Untied laces splayed in the dirt. I reach for my phone and snap a photo for evidence. Then I lift the shoe gently. No sign of struggle, no tears or damage. Whoever left it wanted someone to find it. I call it in. Unit 12, found sneaker at 50 meters north of playground. Initiating perimeter sweep. Moments later, I hear the low thrum of an engine and the sharp click of K9 gear. Officer Vega steps into the beam, Ranger at her side. Ranger's nose twitches. He zeroes in on the sneaker, sniffs once, then bolts forward, teeth bared. Vega grips his harness. He's got a trail, she says. Ranger charges toward the old mill road, an abandoned dirt track winding into the woods. I jog to keep up, heart hammering. The mill road is half erased by undergrowth, wooden posts rotted and fallen. Old beams of a collapsed structure pitch through vines on one side. Ranger pauses at the ruins, nose to the ground. He growls low, hackles raised. I sweep the flashlight across the broken porch. My stomach clenches when I spot a small shape curled beneath the sagging boards. Hold up, I say, voice low. Vega moves beside me. Ranger scratches at the decay, whining. I slide onto my belly and push away rotten wood. There, in the shallow crawlspace, is Tyler, pale, shivering, knees drawn to his chest, eyes wide and unblinking. His hoodie is damp, his breath comes in rapid bursts. Tyler, I say softly, gloving my hand and resting it on his shoulder. It's Officer Daniels. You're safe now. His eyes flicker at my face, confusion and relief colliding. I help him out, cradling him like a parent would. He's trembling so hard I can feel it through his jacket. Behind me, Ranger stands guard. I scan the tree line, expecting something to burst forth. Nothing moves but the shadows. I carry Tyler to the cruiser, seat him on the back bench, and wrap him in my jacket. He hugs Ranger's muzzle, burying his face in fur. I sit beside him, radioing dispatch. Child recovered from abandoned mill ruins. Victim is unharmed, though shaken. Sending unit back to station for medical check and parent notification. Tyler's eyes drift shut. I watch his chest rise and fall. The tension in my shoulders eases a fraction. But out there, the trees seem to lean closer, as if curious. The drive back is silent. Vega trails behind in her unit. In the rearview mirror, I catch Tyler's reflection, sleeping, peaceful. I think of his mother's voice on the 911 call, brittle with panic. He never came home. Please, you have to find him. I remember the knot in my gut when I realized how small he was out there alone. At the station, I fill in the report. Subject located under porch of derelict mill house on Old Mill Road. No signs of injury or foul play. Subject reports hearing whispers in the woods, feeling watched. Recommend psychological evaluation for trauma. I type the final period and lean back. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. Later, in the interrogation room, though Tyler's only witness, his mother sits across from me, eyes red but hopeful. She thanks me with a tremor in her voice. I nod, stifling tiredness. He's safe, I say. That's what matters. I head home before dawn. The streetlights blur as I drive. In my mind, replay the scene. The haunted look in Tyler's eyes, Ranger's low growl, the silent ruins. I wonder who, or what, made him run into that mill and hide. Ranger found no prints leading back. The whispers Tyler heard remain unexplained. At 6:15 a.m., I'm in my apartment, stripping off boots and jacket. My phone buzzes. A text from dispatch. Good work. Child reunited. K9 commended. I reply with a thumbs-up emoji. I lie on the couch, eyes open. The sunrise seeps through the curtains, golden and insistent. But I feel the weight of night clinging to my skin. I close my eyes and see the bent bicycle, the sneaker, the dark boards of the mill porch. I hear the faintest echo of children's laughter. Or is it whispers? I reach for my coffee mug, but the cup is empty. I'll refill it, head back to the station for debrief. Another shift starts soon. But first, I pause at my window. Cedar Grove wakes, slowly. Cars on Main Street. A paperboy tossing yesterday's news. The distant bell of the school clock. Everything seems normal. Yet, I know what I saw. I know what I heard, and I know the woods keep secrets. I slip off the cruiser's muddy tire and into the playground's dead silence. The chain-link fence is cold beneath my fingertips as I lift the gate, its latch squealing in protest. The single floodlight overhead flickers twice, then plunges the sandbox, swings, and slide into shadow. My flashlight's beam cuts a narrow cone through the dark, illuminating wood chips that squish under my boots. It's 3:02 a.m., and Cedar Grove has never felt so empty. My breath fogs in the crisp night air. I sweep the light across the jungle gym. Metal bars gleaming wet, the rubber mulch dark as spilled ink. Then, there, half buried in the wood chips, a flash of blue. I crouch, heart thudding, and reveal the child's bicycle. Training wheels still attached. A scuffed handlebar basket. A single red ribbon tied to the grips. Whoever left it did so intentionally. The ribbon flutters, as if someone just ran off. I thumb the radio mic. Unit 12. Playground zone. Found bicycle at center. Beginning perimeter. My words feel hollow in the vast quiet. A crackle. Copy. Unit 12. K9 20 ETA 2 minutes. I lower the mic and rise. Every cop in Ohio has his standard spiel for a missing child call. Mine goes something like, stay calm, stay visible, call for backup. But out here, there is no calm, just the pulse in my ears and the weight of darkness pressing in. A breeze stirs, carrying the scent of damp leaves and something faintly coppery. Fear, maybe. My flashlight picks out tiny footprints trailing north toward the tree line. I step off the mulch onto earth tangled with roots. The prints are small, a size 2Y or 3Y, perfectly formed in the soft ground. I crouch, index finger tracing the toe, then rise and follow. My boots sink into mud. I pause at the edge of the oaks, a wall of trunks blacker than the rest. The beam trembles as I raise it. Beyond, shapes shift. Branches, vines, and deeper shadow. I call softly, "Tyler?" "It's Officer Daniels. I'm here to help." My voice vanishes into the night. No answer, just the steady drip of condensation from leaves. Another crack, closer this time, snapped twig or deliberate step. I whirl, hand on holster. Light falls on nothing but a broken swing, its seat yawning. My pulse spikes. I take a breath. Trust the training. I step forward. 2 minutes later, I hear tires crunching gravel. Officer Vega's cruiser rolls in, headlights off, K9 Ranger in tow. Ranger's ears perk. He sniffs the air, then locks onto the trail. Vega whispers, "He's on it." Ranger bolts ahead, silent except for the soft scuff of paws. I follow, breath shallow, flashlight carving a path. The trail leads to the old mill road, an abandoned dirt track half swallowed by weeds. The collapsed remains of a wooden mill lean at a sick angle, beams rotted, boards sagging. Ranger pads to the porch, nose down. He growls quietly, then whines. I drop to one knee, sliding under the low overhang. There, curled against a beam, is a small shape. I push aside rotted wood. Tyler, pale, eyes wide, hugging his knees. His blue hoodie is streaked with mud, his breathing rapid. I gently lay a hand on his shoulder. He startles, then relaxes into me, sobbing quietly. "Hey, champ," I say softly. "You're safe. I've got you." Ranger circles us, muzzle low. I scoop Tyler up. He nestles against me, trembling. I crawl out, rising into Vega's beam. She nods. Good find. I carry him to the cruiser. He clings to Ranger's fur. I settle him into the back seat and wrap him in my jacket. Over the radio, subject recovered under mill porch. No injuries, sending EMS and parents. The drive back is silent. Tyler's eyelids flutter. He drifts between sleep and wakefulness. In the mirror, I see the fears still lingering in his gaze. I remember his mother's frantic voice. He never came home. Please hurry. I swallowed hard then, promising I would. At the station, I radio ahead. Notify Mom. He's safe. Tyler's mother bursts in, tears flooding. She wraps him in a hug, silent, trembling. I step back, letting them have the moment. I file my report, concise, clinical. Recovered from derelict structure on Old Mill Road. No sign of foul play. Subject reports hearing voices in woods. Recommend psychological follow-up. Later, I sit at my desk, fluorescent lights humming. The station is emptying out. Dawn approaches. I pour black coffee into a styrofoam cup. My hands still shake. I replay the scene, the bike, the footprints, Tyler's wide eyes. What terrified him so much he ran into that ruin? Ranger found no other prints. No footprints leading back into the woods. I step outside for air. The sky is pale indigo. Birds stir in the oaks. Cedar Grove wakes slowly. A newspaper lands on a porch. A lone jogger appears under the street lamp. Everything seems normal. Yet I know the woods keep secrets. I glance toward the tree line. Moonlight gleams on the collapsed mill. I pocket my phone. Another day begins. I have paperwork, debriefs, then home, if I can sleep. But part of me will stay out there, scanning shadows, listening for whispers. Because when a child disappears in Cedar Grove, The night doesn't let go easy. Dawnlight touches the playground. The bike lies abandoned. Ranger nudges it with his nose. I watch, silent. Then I kneel, picking up the ribbon. It's still tied to the handlebar. I tuck it into my pocket, a reminder that some calls never really end. The dawn light creeps across the station parking lot as I step out of the briefing room, the ribbon from Tyler's bike still folded in my palm. The air is crisp, but the chill doesn't come from the morning. It comes from the memory of last night's search. I tuck the ribbon into my pocket and head toward the roll call board, where shift assignments and bulletins glow under fluorescent tubes. Officer Vega is already there, leaning against her cruiser, Ranger at her feet. She looks up and nods. "Rough night," she says. I manage a tired smile. "You too." We share a look that needs no words. We both know how close it came to ending badly. Inside, the briefing room smells of stale coffee and paper. Lieutenant Harris stands before us, arms crossed. "Good work on the missing child," he begins, voice low so only our squad hears. "Cedar Grove PD got national attention overnight. Local news picked it up. They want statements." He taps a printed memo. "No media until public affairs handles it. Any leaks, and you'll answer to me." He glances at me. "Daniels, I want a full written report by end of shift. Include Ranger's involvement, timeline, every detail you remember." I nod. Writing the report will be easy compared to living it twice. When the door clicks behind Harris, Vega turns to me. "You okay?" she asks. Ranger noses her hand. I rub at the back of my neck. "Yeah, just thinking." I glance at the board. Today's schedule, paperwork, follow-up at the hospital, community outreach event at the elementary school. A missing child volunteer fair, perfect. At 7:30 a.m., I'm seated at my desk, typing the narrative. At approximately 3:02 hours, Unit 12 arrived on scene at Cedar Grove Playground. Initial observation: abandoned bicycle. My fingers hesitate at the description of Tyler curled beneath the mill porch. I force myself on. The words tumble out. Footprints, canine trail, recovery, mother's relief. I attach photos, the bike, the sneaker, the broken porch beam. I note Tyler's whispered voices as potential PTSD triggers. By 9 a.m., the memo arrives, no comments to press. I forward it to my lieutenant. The rest of the morning is a blur of calls. School counselor, Child Protective Services, mental health referral. Tyler's mother thanks me again over the phone. I assure her we'll check on him. I hang up and run a hand through my hair. At 11 o'clock, community outreach. I stand behind a folding table in the elementary school gymnasium, surrounded by teddy bears, coloring books, and pamphlets on stranger danger. Parents mill around, clutching coffee, nervous smiles on their faces. A banner overhead reads, "Cedar Grove cares, keeping kids safe." I hand out reflective bracelets and safety whistles. Kids shyly wave at the police dog demonstration. Ranger sits obediently as a second grader pets his head. I catch Tyler's mother in the crowd. Her eyes meet mine. She mouths, "Thank you." I nod. She clamps her hand over her mouth, fighting tears. Her younger daughter tugs at her sleeve. The mother smiles, then turns away. I feel the weight of responsibility settle heavier on my shoulders. Back at the station by 1 p.m., I review the 911 call recording. The dispatcher's voice is calm but urgent. "Cedar Grove, what's your emergency?" Tyler's mother. "My son, he's gone. He didn't come home. Please hurry." The line crackles with her panic. I replay it twice, studying every pause. I mark the timestamp when Tyler's mother describes his clothing. That detail keyed our search. At 2:30 p.m., I drive out to Old Mill Road with Ranger and Vega. The abandoned mill sits like a tomb at the end of the dirt track. I park 50 feet back and we climb out. Ranger pads ahead, nose low. We crouch at the edge of the porch. I trace the spot where I pulled Tyler out. Rotted boards, splintered, mud-stained. I kneel, pressing my palm to the earth. The imprint of Ranger's paw is still there, crisp in the dried mud. I whisper, "Good boy," though Ranger doesn't need praise. Vega shines her light inside the ruin. "Nothing new," she says. "Just the same boards, the same shadows." I nod, but I keep my flashlight trained on the far wall, where the beam caught that faint line, like the outline of a hidden door. I step closer, brushing away cobwebs. The line is still there. 3 planks set slightly apart, forming a seam. Whoever built that wall carved a space behind it. I press my ear to the wood. Silence, except for the distant rumble of traffic on Main Street. I trace the seam with my fingertip. The wood gives slightly. My pulse quickens. I glance at Vega. "We need to pry it open," I say. She hands me a pry bar from her trunk. Moments later, we've peeled back the planks. Inside is an empty cavity, maybe 2 feet deep. The dirt floor is bare. No another sneaker, no toy, no sign of life. Only silence. I shine the light inside, then lower it. "They were here," I murmur. "Someone hid here, then left." Vega frowns. "Why leave Tyler's shoe at the playground? Why not take him deeper?" I have no answer. A chill runs through me. I close the cavity and hammer the planks back into place. The wall looks whole again, except for the faint scratch where my flashlight slipped. We drive back as the sun begins to tip west. I call it in. Unit 12, site reinspection complete. No additional evidence found. Recommend board up and demolition to prevent trespass. The dispatcher responds. Copy that. That night, at 9 p.m., I can't sleep. I sit at home, the ribbon on the coffee table. I untie it and hold it to my nose. Smell of cotton and dust. I text Vega, "You ever get the feeling something's watching you when you're sure you're alone?" She replies seconds later, "Every single night." I set my phone aside and stare at the ceiling. The world is silent, but in my mind I hear the faintest echo of children's laughter. Or is it whispering? I roll onto my side and close my eyes, but sleep eludes me. At 2:15 a.m., I jolt awake to the chime of my radio app. An alert from dispatch. Possible sighting of missing juvenile near Cedar Creek Bridge. My heart hammers. I grab my uniform, my Glock, Ranger's leash. The night is calling again. I step outside into the humid air. Vega is already waiting, coffee in hand. Ranger wags his tail, ready. We exchange a look. No words needed. The forest beyond the creek is darker than the sky. We move toward it, flashlights low, senses on edge. Some calls end with relief. Some calls end with questions. This one feels like the latter. The woods whisper around us, and I know we're not done chasing shadows. Moonlight shimmers on the surface of Cedar Creek as Vega and I step onto the sagging footbridge. Ranger's nails click against the rotting wood. The air is thick with humidity and the scent of wet earth. Crickets trill in the underbrush, punctuated by the faint rush of water downstream. I check my watch. 2:23 a.m., exactly 8 minutes after the alert. Vega shines her flashlight into the gloom. "Last seen here," she whispers, voice barely above the creek's murmur. I sweep my beam across the bank. Broken concrete slabs jut from the mud, remnants of an old fishing pier. The boards have rotted away years ago, leaving jagged rebar and slippery stones. Ranger sniffs at the edge of the bridge, tail stiff. I kneel beside him, eye level with the planks. There, A smear of mud across the wood, too high for a deer, too irregular for a raccoon. I lean in, tracing it with my fingertip. Brown streaks, partial boot tread, size small. Matches Tyler's footprint earlier, but muddier, older. I press my glove to it, lifting the ridge of grime. "Good boy, Ranger," I murmur. He growls low, nose to the ground, then darts forward into the thicket. Vega glances at me. He's got something. Ranger's path cuts north, following the creek's curve into dense pines. I lift my radio. Unit 12 and K9 proceeding along creek bank, heading north. Watch your step. Bridge is unstable. Crackle from dispatch. Copy that. We move single file through ferns waist high, flashlight beams crisscrossing. My heart hammers against my chest, each breath a visible puff. The further we go, the quieter the night becomes. Crickets fade, leaves stop rustling. Even the creek's flow seems distant. A snapping twig echoes. Vega freezes, hand on her holster. Ranger halts, hackles raised. His body is rigid, nose pointing at a dark shape leaning against a tree trunk. I step closer, light whitening. It's a small backpack, navy blue, unzipped, straps tangled in vines. I crouch, aware of every shadow. The zipper is open. Inside, a half-empty water bottle, a folded red hoodie, matching Tyler's, and a paperback chapter book, pages damp. I lift the book, brushing away mud. The Adventures of Sam and Lucy. A child's handwriting on the inside cover. Tyler M., Cedar Grove Elementary. My chest tightens. I snap photos, then close the pack. Found backpack, I whisper into the radio. Likely our kids. Location, Cedar Creek, 2:25 a.m. Vega shines her light downstream. Look there. Beneath an overhanging root wad, the beam catches something white. I wade through muck to the creek's edge, careful not to slip. Half submerged in the water's a small sneaker, mud-caked, laces untied. I lift it out, water sluicing off. The size matches. I hold it by the heel, letting droplets fall. Poor kid, I say softly. He's been moving through here. Ranger barks, low and urgent, at the opposite bank. We train our lights on a narrow game trail leading uphill into thicker woods. The scent here is stronger. Mud, pine resin, and something else. Faint sweetness, like crushed berries or something, coppery. My stomach knots. After him, I say, voice steady, though my pulse leaps. Vega follows, Ranger bounding ahead. I catch up, scanning for signs. Bent grass, broken twigs, scuff marks on bark. The ground slopes upward, roots forming natural steps. The trail angles toward a fallen log, moss-covered and wide as a small car. Ranger pauses, nose under the log. I kneel, shining my light beneath. Something moves. Ankle, shin, then stillness. I lift the log an inch. Beneath, curled in a ball, is Tyler. His face is streaked with dirt and tears, eyes closed. He trembles. I push the log aside and extend my hand. Tyler, it's me. Officer Daniels. He blinks, confusion and relief flooding his expression. He scrambles out, voice cracking. They were here. He points back down the trail, whispering, telling me to come. His legs give out. I catch him under the arms. Ranger nuzzles his shoulder. Vega shines her light on the clearing. I squat beside Tyler. You did great, buddy. You stayed hidden. I wrap my jacket around him. Behind us, the woods press in, dark and silent. I look at the fallen log, now still. Let's get you home. I lift Tyler. He folds against me, exhausted. Ranger trots beside us. Vega watches the trees, hand on her flashlight. Something's not right, she mutters. We backtrack carefully. Footprints now, 2 sets, Ranger's and mine, mingling with Tyler's small prints. At the bridge, I pause, turning to look up the creek. Moonlight glints on the water. The bank is empty, but I feel eyes on us. The forest is too quiet. At the cruiser, I settle Tyler into the passenger seat, wrapping him in my spare jacket. His breathing evens. He tucks his head against the seat. I close the door gently. Vega and Ranger stand by the creek, scanning the tree line. I kill the engine and step out. Something followed us, Vega says softly. Ranger growls into the darkness. I flick on the cruiser's spotlight, illuminating the far bank. Branches sway, though there's no wind. A shape, a dark silhouette, stands between the trees, just beyond the light's reach. It's tall, thin, unmoving. I raise my flashlight. The beam swings. Nothing, just trunks. My throat goes dry. "You see that?" I whisper. Vega nods. Ranger snarls. I click on the spotlight again. The shape vanishes. I step toward where it stood. Footprints indent the mud, adult-sized boot tread leading upstream, away from us. I kneel, examining them. Fresh. I radio dispatch. Unit 12, evidence of an adult presence. Possible suspect or watcher. Location, Cedar Creek Bridge. Send units to secure perimeter. The reply is immediate. Copy that. Multiple units en route. I stand, brushing mud from my knees. Vega shines her light along the bank. "We need to search that direction," she says. Ranger barks and dashes after the prints. I follow, heart pounding. The woods close in overhead. The moon drifts behind clouds, and our flashlights become lifelines. 20 yards upriver, Ranger stops at the base of an enormous oak. The bark is scarred, long gashes like claws or a pry tool. Dried sap has run in rivulets, amber against gray wood. I trace the gouges with my glove. They're fresh, no moss regrowth. Someone carved their way through here. Vega kneels, shining her light on the ground. Scattered toys, a plastic soldier, a small doll head, a broken watch, lie half buried in leaves. I pick up the doll head, its painted eyes stare blankly. My stomach twists. They've been staging these, I say, leaving breadcrumbs. Tyler's voice, small and trembling behind me. "Officer Daniels?" First turn. He's standing at the cruiser door, jacket oversized, face pale. He must have followed us. I crouch. "Hey, you okay?" He nods, teeth chattering. "They won't let me go." A chill runs through me. "Who, Tyler? Who won't let you go?" He points at the trees. "The people in the walls, they said they'd get me." My heart slams. I remember Adam's terror in that apartment. The cultists pressed behind the wall. "It's all right," I say, voice firmer. "You're safe with us." He shuffles closer. Ranger sits, head cocked. The forest is silent again. Too silent. I scan the tree line. Shadows deepen. The sense of being watched intensifies. I lift my radio. Unit 12, child secure. Possible suspect prints upstream. Sending K9 and 2 units to investigate. Daniels out. Vega moves to Tyler's side. "Come on, buddy. Let's get you someplace warm." She guides him toward her cruiser. He pauses, glancing back at the woods. I watch the spot where I saw the silhouette. The trees stand unmoving, but I swear something shifted just beyond sight. I step forward, shining my light into the gloom. Ranger growls and lunges, pulling the leash. Taut. I hold him. "Easy." The beam falls on disturbed earth beneath the oak. Fresh footprints of at least 3 adults. They head deeper into the forest, converging at a point I can't see. My radio crackles. Units in position. No visual on suspect. Over. I tap the mic. "Copy that. Sweep from bridge to mile marker 3. Check all hollows and abandoned structures. Maintain comms." The night stretches. We move as a team, flashlights bobbing. K9 baying softly. Every snap to twig, every rustle is a potential threat. The trail leads us past the collapsed mill, past the creek's bend, into a valley where the undergrowth chokes the beam. At mile marker 2, we find an old root cellar. Stone walls half sunken, door missing. Inside, the earth floor is littered with leaves. And something else. Tiny footprints circling a shallow pit. I crouch, counting prints. A dozen child-size, all around a depression maybe 3 feet across. The soil is disturbed, hollowed out. I shine my light into the pit. At the bottom, glinting in the beam, is a small object. I lower myself and scoop it up. Tyler's red ribbon, coated in mud. My stomach drops. Someone took it from his bike, carried it here, dropped it. Why? As a lure? A marker? A ritual token? A sudden breeze rattles the cellar's stone walls. My flashlight flickers. Ranger snarls, hair on end. I stand, backing out, heart racing. The woods beyond the cellar mouth are impenetrable black. I flash my light outward. Nothing. Yet I feel the weight of unseen eyes. I radio in a code for possible crime scene. Vega's voice, on our way. We secure the area, setting perimeter tape loosely around the cellar. Ranger prowls the edge, nose low. I kneel by the pit, brushing soil aside. Beneath, I see the corner of a tattered map. A children's treasure map, crudely drawn. An X marks a location in the woods. My pulse spikes. Someone prepared, anticipated a child's search, planned this. I bag the map fragment. This is beyond a simple runaway or lost kid. This is deliberate. Someone is orchestrating fear. I rise, hands trembling. Ranger whines. Vega places a hand on my shoulder. Daniels, we need to get Tyler away from here. I nod. Get him to the station. I'll finish documenting. She leads Tyler back down the trail. He glances over his shoulder, wide-eyed. I watch until they vanish into the night. Then I turn back to the pit. The map fragment in my evidence bag feels heavier than lead. I climb out of the cellar, brushing dirt from my uniform. Above me, the moon reemerges from clouds, pale and watchful. The forest exhales, the creek murmurs. I radio dispatch, Unit 12, found potential ritual site. Evidence collected. Ribbon, map, fragment, footprints. Recommend forensics team respond. The voice on the radio is flat. Copy that. Forensics en route. All units maintain position. I lower the handset. Ranger pads up, nose pointed at the trees. I follow him to the creek's bank. We stand side by side, watching the water glisten. The world feels wrong, like a movie set left abandoned midway through a scene. My phone buzzes. A text from Vega. Kid's safe, but he's seeing shadows. Might need psych unit too. I type back, on it. See you at station. I pocket the phone. The forest holds its breath around me. The footprints lead on, deeper into darkness. I hesitate, then follow. Flashlight and gun raised, because I can't leave unanswered questions in the dark. Each step crunches leaves, echoes in the hush. Ranger stays close, ears pricked. The trail slopes upward toward a ridge. At the crest, the trees part, revealing a clearing ringed by ancient oaks. In the center lies a circle of stones, blackened as if by fire. Ash and charred wood scatter the ground. I shine my light over the stones. Symbols, scratched in charcoal, circle the ring. Spirals, triangles, shapes that make no sense. The air here is colder. Ranger growls, backing away. I swallow hard. This is no accidental hiding spot. This is a gathering place. A sudden snap behind me, I spin. Vega emerges, flashlight trained on my face. Found it, she says, voice tight. Tyler's backpack lies by her feet, zipped shut. I pick it up, unzip, empty. He left it here after the cellar. Why? Confusion wars with dread in my chest. We stand together in the clearing, flashlights crossing beams. The symbols glimmer. The stones seem to absorb the light, swallowing it. The wind picks up, rustling leaves overhead. I shiver. Daniels? Vega murmurs. What the hell is this? I don't answer. I kneel and trace one symbol with my glove. Cold, rough. My radio crackles. Unit 12, command calling. Status? I clear my throat. We, found a stone circle with charred remains and symbols. Possible cult site. Request immediate backup in HAZMAT if needed. Copy that. Units inbound. I stand, brushing dirt from my knees. Vega shines her light on the ridge's downward slope. We need to mark this, then get Tyler help. I nod. I snap photos of the circle, the symbols, the ash. Each image feels surreal, like documenting a dream. But the mud on my boots and the chill in the air prove it was real. We place evidence markers by each stone. Ranger presses his nose to the charred wood, then whines. I pat his flank. Good boy. Behind us, the dark forest seems to lean in, watching. I feel exposed, vulnerable. I glance at Vega. Her face is pale. Let's go, she says. We backtrack swiftly, marking the trail for forensics. The clearing recedes, swallowed by trees. Ranger hesitates, glancing back once, then follows. By the time we reach the creek bridge, the first blue lights of backup shimmer through the trees. Patrol cars fan out. Officers spread across the bank. Flashlights bob and cameras click. I hand my notes to the arriving detective. This way, I say, pointing uphill. Tyler's mother waits near the cruiser, eyes red but hopeful. Tyler sits beside her, wrapped in a blanket. He looks at me and Vega, clutches his mother's hand. Relief floods me. He's safe, for now. I step aside as medics check him. He stares at the ground, silent. I catch his eye and nod. He manages a small, tired smile. As dawn brightens the sky, the woods still hold their secrets. The stone circle, the symbols, the footprints. They all point to something darker than a simple lost child. A ritual, a plan, a menace that watched Tyler, guided him, let him go. I turn away, mind racing. We'll comb the trail again, canvass the area, interview residents. But I know the truth won't be easy. The forest gave Tyler back, but it kept its secrets. I look at Vega. This isn't over. She nods. Ranger exhales, tongue lolling. The creek babbles on. I reach into my pocket and finger the ribbon, now smudged but intact. A marker, a warning, a call to chase the darkness deeper. Because in Cedar Grove, when a child vanishes and returns, the night remembers. And so do we. The station's fluorescent lights buzz as I step inside, mud still caked on my boots. I make for the evidence locker, Ranger padding at my heels. Inside the locker room, Vega is already unloading evidence bags. Tyler's ribbon, the map fragment, the mud-stained sneaker, and the charred wood sample from the stone circle. I hang my jacket and gloves on a hook. What's our chain of custody looking like? I ask. Vega sorts the bags on the counter. Forensics will pick up the circle debris at 0700. Evidence tech took the sneaker and ribbon. The map fragments in cold storage. They've logged everything. She glances at the clock. 5:14 a.m. We've got 2 hours before the press show up. I nod and lean back against the locker. My body aches from crawling through mud and hidden crawl spaces. My mind aches more. Who built that circle? Who left the toys? And why? And most urgent, who watched Tyler long enough to guide him through those woods and then let him go? A soft knock. Detective Morales steps in, coffee in hand. Lieutenant wants a sit rep, she says. Ranger wags his tail. Morales crouches to scratch him behind the ears. Good boy, Ranger. She stands. Coffee steaming. You two look wrecked. We are, Vega admits. But we found more than a lost kid. There's a ritual site. Stone circle, symbols, charred wood. She taps the evidence bags. Suggest cult activity. Morales raises an eyebrow. Cult, around here? She sips coffee. You got proof beyond the creepy stones. I step forward. Footprints. Adult, 3 sets. Leading upstream from the bridge. The toys and ribbon were staged along that path, culminating in the circle. Someone choreographed this. I rub my temples. Kid's safe, but someone planned to scare him, maybe worse. Morales nods slowly. I'll brief Harris. He'll want SWAT on standby, maybe the bomb squad for the circle, just in case, and we'll need the crisis unit for Tyler's follow-up. She glances at her watch. You should get some rest. I've got this. I hesitate, then nod. Vega and I head for the locker room benches. We strip boots and gear. My phone buzzes. A text from dispatch. Mayor's office demands status. I ignore it. Not yet. At 6:30 a.m. I'm in the briefing room again, this time under harsh daylight and curious eyes. Reporters file in, cameras rolling. Lieutenant Harris steps up. He glances at me, then addresses the crowd. Earlier today, Cedar Grove police recovered a missing juvenile without physical harm. We're investigating unusual evidence at the scene. Further details will be released when appropriate. He shuts his laptop. Reporters shout questions. He ushers them out. Back in the squad room, Vega shakes her head. Media circus already. I rub my eyes. We gave them enough to keep them quiet. She nods. Now we dig deeper. We spend the rest of the morning interviewing neighbors near Old Mill Road. Most heard nothing. A few reported seeing flashlights in the woods at odd hours last week. One jogger mentioned footprints by the creek, but thought they were from fishermen. No one noticed the stone circle. No one saw the 3 adults whose prints we followed. At 11 a.m., forensics calls. The charred wood sample tested positive for traces of birch bark and a slow-burning accelerant, suggesting someone built a fire in the circle intentionally. The symbols? Made from crushed charcoal, recent. The map fragment? Part of a commercial treasure hunt kit marketed to kids, but no complete map was found. Someone tore it apart, used pieces. I study the photos on my computer, the circle's design, the symbols etched in spiral patterns. They resemble no known local folklore. More like a twisted scavenger hunt, one designed to lure children, a predator's game. My phone rings. Dispatch, another call. A hiker found a second map fragment downstream near the old cemetery. I grab Vega. Let's go. 20 minutes later, we're at the cemetery's edge. Headstones lean at odd angles. Ivy crawls over cracked marble. Ranger sniffs along the perimeter. Vega shines her light on the grass. Here, she says. Another piece of the same map, mud-splattered, showing the cemetery layout and marking a spot by an unmarked grave. I kneel, brushing aside leaves. The soil beneath is freshly turned. No marker, just a shallow mound. I press my gloved hand to it. Software, recent. I radio in. Unit 12. Found second map fragment at Cedar Grove Cemetery near unmarked grave. Area appears disturbed. Backup arrives, 2 uniformed officers and a crime scene tech. We cordon off the plot. I sift the dirt carefully. At the base of the mound, I unearth a small, cracked porcelain doll, missing an eye, one arm broken. Its dress is singed. I bag it. I stand, heart pounding. A doll head in a ritual circle, footprints leading to and from. Someone is creating a trail of breadcrumbs, and they've picked Cedar Grove as their stage. Vega's voice is quiet. This is beyond a prank. I nod. This is planned, methodical. They want attention. The tech snaps photos. I scan the graves. One stone stands out. weather-worn, barely legible. Infant Mary Caldwell, 1952 to 1952. Beneath, someone scratched a spiral symbol, the same we saw in the circle. Old grief and new terror intertwined. I step back. The sun is high now, but the air feels heavy. I look at Vega. This goes deeper than Tyler. We need to find who's behind this before another child disappears. Or worse. She meets my gaze. Agreed. We leave the cemetery with evidence bags full and minds racing. Ranger rides in the cruiser, head out the window, ears flapping. I catch his eye. He seems to know we're hunting something dark. At the station, I lock the doll head in the evidence safe. I tape the map fragments to the case file. On my desk, the ribbon from Tyler's bike lies beside the photos. I slide them into a folder labeled Case Number 24-05, Cedar Grove Child Ritual. My phone buzzes again, a voicemail from Tyler's mother. I play it. Her voice trembles. "Thank you, Officer Daniels. He's sleeping now, but he's drawing symbols, little spirals. Please help him." I sit back, heart heavy. Tyler's safe, but he carries this nightmare inside him now. And whoever orchestrated it is still out there, watching, planning the next move. I close the file. The next team meeting is at 2000 hours. SWAT, forensics, crisis negotiators. We'll review the map, the symbols, the footprints. We'll consult profilers. We'll try to predict the predator's next target. But as I glance at the folder, I realize we're already behind. The ritual was laid out days ago. We arrived late to the scene. We followed breadcrumbs. The night holds its secrets close, and we're only beginning to peel them away. I ease the cruiser forward onto Main Street, the morning sun glinting off wet pavement. My radio crackles with routine traffic, dispatch calls, status checks. But my mind is fixed on the case file writing shotgun. Case 24-05, Cedar Grove Child Ritual. The folder bulges with evidence. Tyler's mud-caked sneaker, the red ribbon, the torn map fragments, the singed doll head, crime scene photos of the stone circle and cemetery grave. I pull into the station lot at 8:15 a.m. Officer Vega is already at her desk, eyes red-rimmed, flipping through the map fragments under a bright desk lamp. She looks up as I step in. Ranger pads in behind me, pads of his paws clicking on the linoleum. I close the cruiser door and cross to her. "We've got 6 fragments now," she says quietly. 4 from the creek trail, 2 from the cemetery. When we piece them, they form a crude map of Cedar Grove's outskirts. Old Mill Road, the creek bend, the cemetery, and one more location, the abandoned train depot south of town. I nod, exhaling. The train depot, long-shuttered, graffiti-scarred, a favorite dare spot for teenagers. It sits at the end of silent tracks, half swallowed by weeds and rust. Perfect for someone wanting solitude and secrecy. "Let's get a look," I say. I grab the case file and Ranger's leash. Vega snaps the fragments, together with tape. The map's edges overlap, the X's aligning near the depot. "We move before nightfall," she adds. 1400 hours, Cedar Grove Police Department. Briefing room Lieutenant Harris stands at the head of the table, flanked by Detective Morales, the SWAT lieutenant, and the head of forensics. On the table lie the assembled map, photos of the ritual site, and my case notes. Harris clears his throat. We have confirmation that this is not random. 911 calls, the staged items, the ritual circle, grave disturbance, it's all connected. Whoever's behind this is creating a pattern, and the map points to an endgame at the old train depot. The SWAT lieutenant, Ortiz, taps the map. Depot's structurally unsound. We'll need entry teams, breach gear, medics on standby. Could be booby traps. Forensics, Harris continues. What do we have on the symbols? Dr. Chen, our forensic archaeologist, steps forward. The spiral and triangle glyphs appear to be modern creations, but they echo ancient ritual motifs, symbols of transition, passage, and entrapment. The charred remains indicate a ceremonial fire. The doll head and children's toys suggest a perverse invocation of childhood innocence. She meets my eyes. This is psychological manipulation, and likely a message or a lure for more children. Vega clears her throat. We recovered footprints of 3 adults, size 9 to 11 boots, around the stone circle. We've run them through AFIS, no hits yet. We're canvassing pawn shops and work boots retailers for similar tread patterns. Morales folds his arms. We've got patrol units fanned out along routes to the depot. Will converge at 1800 hours. Daniels, Vega, you lead the entry team. Ranger stays with you. We'll approach covertly from the creek bed to avoid alerting anyone inside. I nod. Understood. Harris fixes me with a stern look. This ends tonight. Bring Tyler's stolen innocence back, and bring whoever did this to justice. The sun slants low, turning the creek to molten silver. Vega and I crouch behind a fallen sycamore, Ranger at the ready. We peer through the reeds at the derelict train depot 100 yards away. Rusted boxcars sit on the tracks. The depot's windows are caged with bars, door ajar. Faded graffiti, skulls, spirals, children's scrawled names, mars every surface. Ortiz's SWAT team fans out behind us. Forensics techs stand by with evidence bags and portable lights. A drone hovers overhead, its camera feeding live video to Morales inside the command van. I check my watch, 17:55. 5 minutes until go time. I feel the familiar weight of my Glock, the reassuring press of Ranger's harness. Vega's hand hovers over her own weapon. On my mark, I whisper. Ranger's ears twitch. 3, 2, 1. Mark. We move, silent, low, like ghosts in the dying light. Ranger leads, nose to the ground, tracing the rail ties. The depot door creaks as we slip inside. Darkness swallows us. My flashlight beam picks out broken crates, shattered glass, rat-scattered debris. The air smells of mildew and oil. Every step echoes. Ranger's nails click on concrete. We fan out. Vega covers the left corridor. I sweep right. Ortiz's team positions at rear, breaching gear ready. Forensics follows, carrying evidence kits. Halfway down the corridor, Ranger stops, hackles raised. He growls low. I swing the light up. 3 figures in dark, hooded robes stand in a circle of chalked symbols on the floor. In the center, a small child's bicycle wheel spins slowly on a nail. The figures chant in low tones, indecipherable syllables that scrape across my nerves. I draw my weapon. Police, don't move! The chanting stops. The robed figures freeze, then turn as one. Beneath the hoods, 3 adult faces, expressionless. Boots matching our footprint descriptions. One holds a ritual knife. Antique, serrated, its blade dark. Ortiz's team moves in. Drop it, the lieutenant shouts. The knife-clutching figure steps back, hesitates. Ranger lunges, barking. The figure slashes at the air, then flings the knife aside. 2 officers wrestle him down. The others raise their hands. I step into the circle, heart pounding. Vega moves to secure the ritual knife. I shine my light on the floor. Charcoal symbols identical to those at the stone circle, encircling a rough wooden platform. On it lie children's toys. A torn teddy bear, a cracked music box, a single red sneaker. My stomach twists. One of the cultists, female, gaunt, smiles. You're late, officer. Her voice rasps. We were just beginning the rite. I feel rage flare. You put children at risk. She shrugs. We give them back. We always give them back. But we mark them, they carry the memory. She tilts her head. You can't erase what they've seen. I cuff her, ignoring the chill in her words. Vega secures the other two. Ortiz's men sweep the area, finding more map fragments, ritual paraphernalia, matchsticks coated in accelerant. I walk the circle's perimeter, flashlight revealing runes scrawled on walls. Arrows, pointing inward, phrases like, come play, never leave, join us. I snap photos. Ranger sniffs at the platform, then nudges the music box. It clicks open, a warped lullaby warbling. I swallow hard. These toys, they abduct them, psychologically scare them, then release them. Why? The female cultist laughs. Fear is the offering. Their terror feeds the circle. She glances at the wheel. We spin the wheel of childhood, trap innocence in shadow, and the right is nourished. My skin crawls. I step back. You're under arrest for kidnapping, endangering a child, unlawful possession of a weapon, desecration of property, and conspiracy to commit ritual abuse. I recite charges as cuffs click. She doesn't resist. She watches me, eyes unfathomable. This is only the beginning, she whispers. The cultists are loaded into squad cars. Forensics bags up the toys and symbols. Ranger stands guard by the platform. Vega kneels, brushing her fingers over the chalk lines. This circle, it's a beacon, she murmurs. I look at the assembled evidence. They wanted us to find them. They wanted exposure. Morales arrives, nodding. You got them. Good work. He glances at the circle. But he's right. They wanted an audience. I feel unsettled. The detainees go silent as they pass through the light. The depot looms behind us, walls scarred, secrets laid bare. Yet I sense there are deeper horrors we haven't uncovered. We gather in the briefing room. The cultists sit cuffed, flanked by detectives. Forensics presents findings. Accelerant matches. The fire remains at the stone circle. The map fragments are from a single kit. The ritual knife is a stolen antique. The toys have traces of the child's DNA. Vega stands and addresses the room. They targeted Tyler because he was vulnerable, but they planned more. Other children, other locations. She taps the map. Depot was Node 3. We need to search Nodes 4 and 5, locations indicated by the remaining fragments. Harris nods. Make it your top priority. Get search warrants. Notify precincts statewide. This cell may have more members. I lean back, exhausted. Ranger rests his head on my foot. I scratch behind his ears. The room hums with activity. Analysts, detectives, officers planning the next sweep. I glance at Tyler's red ribbon pinned to the map. It feels frayed, like innocence stretched too thin. Vega catches my eye. She's drained but resolute. I nod. We started this hunt to save one boy. Now we're chasing a network. A cult that toys with children's fear. I get out of the patrol car and step into the hollow silence of the playground on Maple Street in Cedar Grove. The night air is unnaturally still, as if the town itself is holding its breath. My boots crunch on the gravel as I walk toward the swings, the beam of my flashlight cutting a flickering column through the darkness. The metal chains squeak softly in the wind, an eerie lullaby that makes my nerves vibrate. I report over the radio. Central, Officer Daniels at the scene, the playground. No sign of the missing teenager yet. Over. The radio crackles. Roger, Unit 12, be careful. I shine my flashlight over the asphalt. There it is, lying on its side in the damp grass, the little red bike. No basket, no training wheels. Just the frame and the memory that a few moments ago, someone small had been here. I kneel down and examine it. The saddle is worn, The handlebars are strangely bent, and nearby lies a single pink boot, half hidden in the wet grass. My heart is pounding. I know that boot belongs to Lily Harper. I memorized her description. Pink rubber boots, yellow jacket with a cartoon rabbit on the back. I radio again. Head office. I have evidence. A pink boot and Lily's bike at the southeast corner of the playground. Please send a dog and backup. Over. I stand up and shine the light on the row of trees bordering the playground. The pines tower like silent guardians, their needles whispering secrets in the wind. Somewhere in this darkness, Lily is waiting. My pulse pounds in my ears as I step off the asphalt and into the edge of the forest. The ground is soft under my boots, the smell of damp earth and pine resin heavy in the air. Every instinct tells me to call for backup, but I know time is precious. I keep walking and call out softly, "Lily, this is Officer Daniels. I'm here to help you. If you can hear me, do something to let me know you're there." There is no answer. The beam of my flashlight dances over twisted roots and fallen branches. I stop in front of a pile of broken twigs. Someone has been here recently. I crouch down and examine a small footprint in the mud. Too small for an adult, too big for Lily's rubber boots. I take a photo with my cell phone and put the evidence in my bag. Then I follow the tracks deeper into the forest. The further I go, the darker it gets. The moonlight struggles to penetrate the canopy, casting shifting shadows across the forest floor. I breathe more slowly and force myself to stay calm. Every step is carefully considered. The flashlight in my left hand, the radio in my right. I replay the emergency call in my head. Lily's mother, her voice trembling, reports her daughter missing after dinner. The dispatcher's calm professionalism. My promise, I'll find her. 20 meters further on, I find another clue. A piece of yellow fabric hanging from a low branch. Lily's jacket. I put it in a bag and radio in, headquarters, jacket fragment found. Coordinates 03 Alpha. Continuing search on foot. After a pause, the reply comes. Roger, Unit 12. K9 team arriving in 2 minutes. I put the fabric away and continue on my way. The tracks lead me to a small clearing. There is an old, half-rotten picnic table, its wood decayed and covered with moss. The air here is colder, heavier. I shine my flashlight over the table and gasp for air. Lily's other boot lies on the weathered surface, upright, as if it had been placed there. I move forward slowly, every muscle tense. I radio. Boot 2 found. Same description. She was definitely here. A soft rustling echoes from the undergrowth. I turn around with my gun drawn, my heart pounding in my throat. The beam of my flashlight catches a movement, too fast to make out. "Show yourself," I shout in a calm voice despite the adrenaline. The forest responds with silence. I move forward cautiously, the adrenaline sharpening my senses. The smell of pine is intense, the taste of fear metallic on my tongue. Then I hear it. A soft sob. My head snaps toward the sound. It's coming from the north side of the clearing, where the trees are denser. I move quickly but cautiously, pushing branches aside. The sobbing grows louder, soft, fearful. I call again, "Lily, Officer Daniels here. I've got you." I walk around a tree trunk and see her crouched against a tree, her knees wrapped around her, her shoulders shaking. Her yellow jacket is stained with mud. Her pink boots are scuffed. She looks up, her eyes wide with relief and fear. "Officer Daniels," she whispers, I got lost." I put my gun away and kneel down beside her. "You're safe," I say quietly. "We've been looking everywhere for you. Let's get out of here." I hold out my hand to her. She hesitates, then takes it. Her handshake is weak and cold. I stand up and lead her back to the path. As we walk, I keep my flashlight pointed at the darkness behind the trees. Every shadow seems to move, every rustle a threat. I radio. Headquarters. I have Lily Harper in sight. Begin recovery to the playground. Over. There's static. Roger, Unit 12. Paramedics and parents are standing by. We step out of the woods into the bright light of the playground floodlights. The contrast is shocking. Bright red and blue lights bathe the swings in surreal colors. Lily's mother rushes forward, tears streaming down her face, and takes her daughter in her arms. Lily clings to her and buries her face in her mother's shoulder. I step back, my heart still racing, and watch the reunion. I radio one last time. Case closed. Minors found. Returning to the station. As I pack up my equipment, I glance back at the edge of the forest. The forest stands still and impenetrable. I can't shake the feeling that something was watching us from the shadows, something Lily found but remained invisible. I raise my flashlight and shine it over the dark entrance to the forest. My reflection flickers in the glass of the patrol car window. Tired eyes, irregular breathing. I whisper to myself, "Good job, Daniels. You did it." But as I say it, I wonder what else is lurking out there in the silence. The night is far from over, and Cedar Grove guards its secrets. I squeeze Lily's small hand into mine and lead her back to the edge of the forest, each step deliberate, all my senses alert. The beam of my flashlight cuts a trembling path through the undergrowth, illuminating tufts of ferns and the gnarled roots of old pine trees. Lily's breathing is shallow, and I can feel her little body trembling against mine. I speak calmly and quietly. "We're almost there, sweetie. You're doing great." We reach the spot where her boot and bike were left. I pause to search the area again. Every detail could be important later. The boot is gone, but the bike is still there, leaning against a young tree as if someone had placed it there. I radio in. Headquarters, we're at the southeastern clearing. The bike is still there, but the boot is missing. Exfil is underway. The reply comes from far away. "Roger, Unit 12, proceed to the playground." Lily's steps falter as we climb the slight incline back to the paved road. The lights of the playground shine down on us, bathing the asphalt in bright white. I lead her onto the sidewalk and crouch down to look at her. "Are you hungry? Thirsty?" She nods, her lips trembling. I take a granola bar out of my bag, a snack from work, and hand it to her. She nibbles it in small, hasty bites. Sirens approach in the distance. I look in the direction of the sound. 2 patrol cars, a K9 unit, and an ambulance with their red and blue lights flashing. Reinforcements have arrived. Lily finishes the bar, wipes the crumbs off her jacket, and looks up at me. "Thank you, Officer Daniels." Her voice is soft but firm. "Let's get you to your mother," I say, standing up and offering her my arm. She takes it, and we walk across the playground. The swings swing back and forth, empty. The metal surface of the slide glistens. Every object now seems to be full of meaning. A child's world left behind in panic. Paramedics rush over to the fence to take Lily. A paramedic kneels down, checks her vital signs, and asks simple questions: name, age, the last thing she remembers. Lily answers quietly. I step back as her mother runs across the lawn, sobbing and with her arms outstretched. They embrace in a tangle of tears and relief. I fight the urge to intervene, to share their relief, but remain aloof, a police officer on duty. I watch as the mother wipes the mud off Lily's jacket and smooths her hair. The dispatch center calls again. "Unit 12, has K9 made contact?" I check the scene. No dog here. "Negative. The K-9 team arrived shortly after I left the woods. No traces beyond the clearing. Understood, comes the reply. We'll search the area. I nod, even though no one can see me. In my mind, I go over every step again. The footprints, the scraps of fabric, the sudden sobbing in the darkness. Something doesn't add up here. Lily was alone, but the footprints indicated that someone bigger had been there. Someone who had left her there, intentionally or unintentionally. I turn back to the tree line. The edge of the forest is now silent, impenetrable. I raise my flashlight and shine it over the trunks. For a moment, I think I see movement, just a fleeting shadow between two trees. I lower the flashlight and squint. Nothing. My jaw tenses. A voice behind me says, "Officer Daniels?" I turn around and see Sergeant Harper, no relation, approaching me with a notebook in her hand. Her forehead is furrowed. "The witness says she heard something on the radio before you arrived, something about a second person." I frown. "Go on?" "She heard dispatch mention an unmarked unit. No call number. The line went dead before they could identify it." Harper looks toward the woods. Could someone else have been there? I think about it. Possible. But Lily didn't mention anyone else. She heard me calling her. I look at Lily and her mother, who are now walking toward the ambulance. If anyone else was there, they're hiding. Harper nods slowly. "We'll check the traffic cameras on Cedar Grove Road. See if any unauthorized vehicles drove down Maple Street after dark." She writes something in her notebook. "I'll notify the patrol. You should write your report." I watch her go, then put away my radio. The adrenaline that was driving me just a few minutes ago subsides and is replaced by a cold weight of questions. I walk back to the tree line. Every tree seems to be leaning inward, as if listening. I crouch down and examine the ground. Lily's boot print is gone, but there's a larger print nearby, muddy, deep, a boot with a heavy sole. I photograph it and put the soil sample in a bag. As I stand up, I notice scratches on the bark of a young pine tree. At child height, jagged notches in the wood. I press my fingers against the marks. They are fresh. Someone, or Lily, has scratched the tree. A silent plea. My chest tightens. I step back and peer into the darkness. The moon has sunk lower, and the forest has grown even darker. The beam of my flashlight is swallowed up almost immediately. I turn it off and let my eyes adjust to the darkness. The forest is a cathedral of darkness. I can make out outlines, tree trunks, undergrowth, the faint glimmer of distant eyes, maybe deer, maybe nothing. I turn the flashlight back on and walk back to my bike. I pick up the handlebars and examine the worn rubber grips. A smudge of dirt on the frame. Too high for Lily. I put the handlebars in a bag to check for fingerprints. My mind races. Who brought Lily back? Who left her boots behind? Who rode away on the bike? Headquarters interrupts. Unit 12, the forensic team will examine the crime scene. You can come in for the report. I exhale. Understood. I stow the evidence from the bike and walk to my patrol car. The playground is now empty except for the flickering headlights and the distant wail of an ambulance siren. I sit down in the driver's seat and start the engine. The clock on the dashboard reads 2:17 a.m. I close my eyes for a moment. In the rearview mirror, I see the row of trees. They seem darker than before. I turn the mirror to see more of the forest. A shadow moves at the outer edge. I blink, and it's gone. I radio headquarters. Daniels to headquarters. I need a follow-up on the civilian vehicle, and forensics to check the motorcycle and boot for fingerprints. Over. Roger, Unit 12. You can come in for debriefing. Good work. I turn off the engine. The sudden silence is deafening. I get out again and walk to the fence. The beam of my flashlight falls on the forest floor. Leaves, broken twigs, and then, impossible, a single white glove. Child's size. Clean, as if it had been placed there deliberately. I pick it up with my gloved hands. No blood, no tears, just the fabric. I put it in a bag. My heart is pounding. A white glove means that someone brought Lily back. Or that someone wanted me to find her. The thought makes me shiver more than the night air. I look back at the lights of the city, warm, safe, unaware. Then back to the forest. Dark, hungry, full of secrets. I get into the patrol car and lock the doors. As I drive away, I catch one last glimpse of the playground and the forest behind it. The beam of light from the flashlight is still dancing at the edge of the trees, even though I turned it off. At least, I thought I did. I realize I never turned it off. I never had control over the light. And in the rearview mirror, I see something else. A figure standing at the edge of the forest, watching me. A small figure in a yellow jacket, next to a larger silhouette, motionless. I blink, and they're gone. But I know they were there, and the night in Cedar Grove is not over yet. I step back into the silence beyond the floodlights, the bright glow of the playground disappearing behind me as I walk across the asphalt toward the edge of the forest. The night seems to breathe in and pull me into its damp embrace. The beam of my flashlight follows the edge where Lily's footprints end, and where the larger footprints begin. I crouch down, brush aside the leaves, and examine the deep imprint. Heavy, deliberate, the sole pattern unknown. I pull on a latex glove and press my fingertip into the mud to gauge the depth. At least an inch, which means the wearer was heavy and moved slowly. My radio is silent. All attention is back on the playground. I am alone here with the evidence. I photograph the footprint from different angles and then pack a soil sample into a bag. The air is heavy with the scent of pine and something else. Decay, a faint smell of iron. I breathe in carefully. My breath catches. Something moves in front of me, a low, shifting silhouette between the trees. I freeze, my heart pounding. The figure is human, crouched, watching me. I shine my flashlight and shout, "Police! Show yourself!" Nothing moves. The beam of light sweeps across empty tree trunks. No sign of the figure. My pulse is racing. I step forward and say in a firm voice, "You don't want to do this. Come out." Silence. I push my way into the forest. Branches crack under my feet. The beam of light falls on a narrow game trail that winds between two oak trees. The larger footprints follow this trail. I follow them. The trail leads down into a shallow ravine. Damp air collects here. My flashlight illuminates something metallic on the ground. Lily's bike chain guard, scratched and smeared with mud. I pick it up carefully. The metal is cold and smooth. I put it in a bag. My thoughts race. Someone took the bike apart and took the parts away. Why leave the boot behind? Why the chain guard? A message. A trap. I climb out of the ravine to a clearing where moonlight shines through the trees. There, footprints lead into knee-high ferns. I walk carefully forward and follow them. The ground becomes softer, consisting of moss and fallen needles. The forest is silent except for the soft humming of cicadas in the distance. My boots sink into the cushion of pine needles. I slow down, my senses sharpened. Every crack of a twig sounds amplified. Then I hear it. The whisper of a child, so soft that I'm not sure if I'm imagining it. "Help me." It floats in the wind. I freeze. "Lily?" I call softly. The whispering stops. I shine the beam of my flashlight to the left and right. Nothing but shadows. I swallow the lump in my throat, and keep going. 6 meters ahead of me, I see Lily's yellow jacket hanging over a low branch, as if someone had put it there for me to find. I step closer, my heart pounding in my throat. The fabric is damp and stiff. I reach out my hand, but a sudden rustling in the undergrowth to my right makes me turn around. I swing the flashlight and catch a glimpse of something pink. Lily's boot is lying between the ferns, the sole facing up. I rush over and pick it up. It's scuffed and muddy, just like the first one. Suddenly, my radio crackles. "Daniels, are you still there?" It's Sergeant Harper. Relief and anger rise within me at the same time. I'm at the edge of the forest, southern quadrant. The evidence is secured. I swallow. There's more out here. I need backup. Understood. Reinforcements are on their way. I turn off the radio. The loneliness returns. I put the boot in an evidence bag and stash it in my jacket pocket. The beam of my flashlight falls on a narrow path that leads deeper into the forest. I hesitate. Every instinct tells me to wait for backup, but Lily's face, her large, trembling eyes, drives me forward. I step onto the path. The path narrows to little more than a game trail. Ferns brush against my legs. The air grows colder. My breath forms mist. I switch the flashlight from high beam to low beam to preserve my night vision. The darkness presses down on me. I move slowly, my hand on my holster. A distant sound, dripping water. I follow the sound and come to a small clearing surrounded by trees. Moonlight illuminates a shallow pond. Its surface is smooth as glass. Lily's bike saddle lies on the bank. Half submerged, the foam padding torn off. I shine my flashlight. Nothing else. I kneel down, my heart pounding, and put the saddle in my bag. As I stand up, I notice footprints in the soft mud around the pond, small and large, crisscrossing each other. Someone brought Lily here. Someone stayed here. I kneel down again to photograph the pattern. The larger footprints lead to the opposite bank and then disappear into the thick bushes. The smaller ones, Lily's, circle the pond twice before following the path we came. My thoughts are racing. Why did he bring her here? Why did he leave these footprints? I feel the gaze of invisible eyes on me. I turn around and shine the flashlight around. The trees stand still. Then I hear a soft dripping behind me. I turn around. The surface of the pond ripples, even though there is no wind. A shadow moves beneath the surface of the water. I step back, my heart pounding in my throat. Suddenly, the ground beneath me gives way, soft, wet. My boot sinks into the mud. I pull it out, splattering mud everywhere. The beam of light falls on something half buried, a white glove that matches the one I found earlier. I pick it up with my gloved fingers. It's muddy, but otherwise clean. No blood, no tears. I put it in a bag. I radio in. "Sergeant, I found more evidence at the pond. A seat and a glove. The tracks lead further. I recommend securing the area before we continue." "Understood, Daniels. Backup on the way. Stay in position." I exhale, the sound echoing loudly in my helmet. I leave the path and stand in the shade to wait. The waves on the pond calm down. The forest breathes with me. I look at my watch. 2:45 a.m. Reinforcements should be here any minute. I cup my hands around my mouth and shout, "Lily!" "Officer Daniels, stay where you are." Silence. The forest responds only with its own breathing. At the edge of my cone of light, I see movement, a yellow flicker. I call again, louder. "Lily!" No answer. My radio crackles. "Perimeter team in position. K9 unit ready." I nod and switch my flashlight back to bright. I walk to the spot where I saw the yellow flicker. The path is barely visible, but discernible. A deep line through the ferns. We follow as a team. Two deputies flank me, a canine in front of us, barking softly into the night. The dog handler whispers commands. The dog sniffs, its tail stiff. The path leads uphill, away from the pond, into denser forest. Branches scratch my coat. The dog stops, the hair on its neck bristling, its nose to the ground. It barks once, softly. The handler nods. We continue. Suddenly, the dog lunges forward, the leash tightens. He barks fiercely at a fallen tree trunk. I shine my flashlight over it. Half hidden under the tree trunk is a small bundle. Lily's jacket wrapped around something soft. My heart is pounding. I step closer. The deputies hold back. I crouch down and pull back the jacket. Lily is curled up inside, her eyes closed, breathing shallowly. Her boots are gone. I place a hand on her shoulder. She stirs, opens her eyes, blinks. Relief floods through me. Lily, it's okay, you're safe. She trembles, her voice just a whisper. He left me here. He said he'd come back. A chill runs down my spine. We're with you now, we're not leaving without you. I radio in. Found on the north slope, wrapped in a jacket. Send a doctor immediately. As we carefully lift her up, the dog pricks up its ears. It growls softly. I turn around. At the edge of the clearing stands a figure. Tall, dressed in black. Its face hidden in the shadows. The beam of light catches the glint of boots. The figure stands completely still. I raise my weapon. Police, don't move! The figure steps back into the trees and disappears. I radio. Suspect sighted. Northern edge. Can't pursue without backup. The deputy sheriffs spread out with flashlights and call into the darkness. The dog pulls on its leash and barks into the night. But the forest swallows the sound. We carry Lily down the slope, each step heavy with tension. Her small body is light in my arms, but my head is heavy with questions. Who brought her here? Who left her here? And who watched as we found her? At the foot of the ridge, the medical team rushes over. Lily is taken away for examination. Stand in the clearing and shine my flashlight on the fallen tree trunk and the empty space next to it. The jacket lies in the mud, soaked. I kneel down, pick it up, and notice a small stain on the seam. Dark, almost black. I press it with a gloved finger. Oil? Blood? I put the jacket in a bag for laboratory analysis. Above me, the moon passes behind a cloud and the clearing is plunged into darkness. The voices of the deputy sheriffs fall silent as they search the trees. The dogs bark once, twice, then fall silent. Silence returns. I stand up and look at the scene. Bicycle parts, boots, gloves, jacket, footprints leading in and out. A mystery unfolding in the mud and moonlight. I feel the gaze of invisible eyes on me. The darkness presses down on me, and I realize that the forest is not empty. Something has been left behind and is watching me. I whisper into the night, "I'll come back and get you." The forest responds with only a sigh. And I know that this case is far from over. I leave the clearing and enter the narrowing corridor of trees, their trunks silent witnesses to the horrors of the night. The K-9 unit and the deputy sheriff spread out behind me, but I continue alone, drawn by a tiny movement in the undergrowth ahead of me. The beam of my flashlight trembles over damp tree bark and tangled roots. All my nerves are on edge. A crescent moon hangs behind the clouds, bathing the forest in shifting silver and black light. The air is heavy with the scent of pine and something more foul, stale sweat, fear, and something metallic underneath. My boots sink into the soft earth, leaving tracks that will later be secured as evidence. I follow a narrow game trail that leads uphill, the ground slippery with fallen needles. 20 meters further on, I find it. A single pink rubber boot standing upright on a moss-covered rock, as if it had been placed there deliberately. The sole of the boot is encrusted with mud from the pond. I kneel down, my heart pounding, and photograph it from different angles. Then I put it in a bag. The second boot is missing. Why just one and not both? A message, a provocation. I stand up and shine the beam of light around. Shadows dance between the trees, a soft rustling to my left. I swing the lamp, nothing. My breath catches. I know that someone or something is here. I radio quietly. Headquarters, this is Daniels. I'm going to the ridge alone. Keep reinforcements ready at the clearing. My voice sounds too loud in the silence. There's a crackle. Roger, Unit 12. Attention. K9 has lost the trail at the clearing. Over. I turn off the radio. The dog has lost the trail where Lily was found. Behind it, the forest swallows every trace. I climb the last slope. At the top, the trees thin out, revealing the dark outlines of the outskirts of Cedar Grove. Scattered streetlights can be seen far below. The wind carries the distant hum of traffic. But here it is quiet. I let the beam of light sweep across the ridge. There, half hidden behind a group of young trees, stands the black-clad figure from earlier, motionless, watching. I raise my gun. Police, come out with your hands up. The figure steps into the moonlight. A man, tall and slim, his face covered by a hood. He tilts his head as if studying me. Then he turns and disappears between the trees again. My pulse is racing. I call after him. Stop! You're under arrest. No answer. I move forward, flashlight and gun pointed at the spot where he disappeared. The ground is untouched. No footprints, no broken branches. He has vanished like a ghost. I curse under my breath. The protocol says to wait for backup, but I can't let him get away. I run after the vanished figure and dive into the denser forest. Branches whip my face. Roots catch in my boots. The beam of light desperately cuts through the darkness. I catch a movement, a black flash, and follow it. The slope becomes steeper. I lose my footing, slip on loose ground, and scrape my knee. The pain spreads, but I keep fighting. The figure remains out of reach. My flashlight flickers. I hit it, and the beam of light becomes more stable again. Then I rush into a small hollow surrounded by old oak trees. Moonlight falls through the tall branches. In the middle lies Lily's bike, undamaged, the wheels turning slowly as if she had just touched it. My heart contracts. The air here feels strange, oppressive. I walk toward the bike. The air grows colder, my breath forming mist. I see footprints around the bike, from adults and children, crossing each other in a jumble. And there, scribbled in jagged notches in the bark of a fallen tree trunk, are the letters, "Thank you." I turn around and shine the beam of my flashlight on the tree trunk. The words glow back, deeply engraved. Fresh wood chips glisten beneath them. Someone left a message, and left Lily's bike behind as a tribute, or as a warning. My radio crackles urgently. "Daniels, are you there?" It's Sergeant Harper. I'm relieved. I'm in the hollow on the hillside. I found the bike, footprints, and a message carved into a tree trunk. I need your location. I'm on my way, Harper replies. I get down on my knees, take a sample of the wood chips, and stand up again as headlights appear. 2 deputies, the K9 handler, and Harper arrive in the hollow. The dog sniffs the bike and whines softly. Harper crouches down and examines the carvings. "My God," she whispers. "What the hell happened here?" I put my gun away. Someone staged this so we'd find it. Lily was left behind at the pond, boots, jacket, glove, bike parts. Now the bike, complete again with a thank you note. Harper runs her hand through her hair. A psychological game, Someone wants attention, or wants us to believe they fled. She shines her flashlight on the tree trunk. Let's pack this up, take fingerprints, and search the area. Let's go. We spread out. I stay near the bike and shine my flashlight on every detail. The worn handles, the scratched frame, the single rabbit sticker on the crossbar, Lily's favorite sticker. I take a picture of it and then pack the frame for fingerprints. While the deputy sheriffs search, I stare at the dark tree line. The figure could be anywhere, above me, below me, behind me. I feel vulnerable. The forest seems alive, breathing. Then I see something flicker. A pale figure moving high up in the branches. I freeze. The beam of light follows it, but there's nothing there. I lower the lamp. My skin tingles. I whisper, "Who's there?" Only silence answers me. Harper returns. "We didn't find anything but brush. Let's take Lily to her mother and report the case." She glances at the report. And the message, no fingerprints. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. I nod. We leave the hollow and leave the bike under the police tape. The ridge behind us sinks into silence. Back at the playground, Lily's mother is waiting, pale and exhausted. They are reunited, this time with paramedics who are treating Lily. I stand at the fence and watch as mother and daughter embrace. I radio in the evidence: boots, jacket, gloves, chain guard, bicycle, wood chips, carving. Everything is labeled and numbered. As I finish my report, I look at the forest behind the fence. The trees stand dark and silent. I feel the gaze of invisible eyes on me. The wind moves a branch, the headlights flicker. For a moment, I think I see Lily's yellow jacket hanging on a swing chain, but when I blink, it's gone. I step closer. The swing is empty. My heart is pounding. I radio headquarters, Unit 12 to headquarters. Secure the area. I want additional patrols on Maple Street after dark. We have an active psychological offender in the woods. Headquarters acknowledges receipt, calm and matter of fact. But inside, my calm has vanished. I know this night will be unforgettable. The unknown figure, the staged evidence, the carved message. Everything points to someone who knows our procedures and our psychology. Someone who is playing a game. I close my notebook and put the keys in my pocket. The playground is quiet now. The bike is waiting behind the police tape. I get into my patrol car. The engine is idling. I stare at the fence and the woods behind it. Then I see it in the rearview mirror. A yellow flash at the edge of the trees. A small figure like a child, standing motionless. I blink, and it's gone. My jaws clench. I exhale slowly. The forest breathes with me, an invisible breath in the darkness. I start the cruiser and drive off toward the station. The headlights cut a trail through the night. But I know that the forests of Cedar Grove are watching me, waiting. And I know that I'll be back. Because someone out there hasn't had enough fun yet. I ease the cruiser down the narrow lane that leads out of the park, eyes flicking to the rearview mirror every few seconds. The empty playground, the silent bike under yellow tape, they all shrink behind me. But the weight in my chest only grows heavier. The radio crackles with routine updates. Nothing urgent, just the steady hum of night shift business. But I know better. This isn't over. I push the accelerator a little harder, fighting the urge to circle back. Cedar Grove's edge thins, the dense oak and maple giving way to open fields lit by sparse street lamps. I navigate the turns toward the station, but when I reach Maple Street, I slow. The houses here sleep under dim porch lights, curtains drawn, occupants oblivious to the predator playing at their woods border. I kill the cruiser's engine and step out, letting the September air wash over me. The cicadas drone in the hedges. Everything seems peaceful, ominously so. My boot heels click on the pavement as I walk a few yards down the block. I stand beneath a lone street lamp. Its yellow glow flickers against the dark canopy behind the nearest house. I imagine Lily's bike hidden there, the rabbit sticker shining in moonlight. I imagine the footprints swirling around it. I imagine that little yellow flash again. I swallow hard. Behind me, headlights appear. Deputy Russo making his rounds. He rolls down his window. "You? Everything okay, Daniels?" His voice is low. I force a nod. "Secure enough. I just wanted to see for myself." I nod toward the woods. "Get extra eyes on that area. K9 patrols, floodlights, I don't care how they do it. Make that forest too hot to hide in." Russo glances at the tree line, then back at me. "You want me to call in the state troopers?" "Yeah," I say, "and the forensics team, again, tonight. Have them sweep every inch. We missed something back there." I pause. "And check the carving. Use alternate light sources. Infrared, ultraviolet. Whoever made it might have left something invisible to us." Russo nods, expression grim. "On it." He rumbles away, tires crunching on gravel. I watch until the cruiser's taillights vanish. Alone again, I lean against the lamppost and close my eyes. The memory of Lily's face, pale, eyes wide, haunts me. She's safe now, but for how long? The hollow's chill still crawls under my skin. That "thank you," carved in raw wood, was it gratitude or mockery? My radio crackles, breaking the silence. "Daniels, you there?" "Go ahead," I answer. "Sergeant Harper, she's reviewing the evidence back at HQ. She wants you back in 40 minutes for a debrief." She sounded shaken. "Understood." I switch off the radio. Debrief, paperwork. They'll ask what I saw, what I felt. My report will be clinical. Location? Evidence logged. No prints, no suspects. But I know the truth. We're dealing with someone who studies us as much as we study them. Someone who choreographs fear. I return to the cruiser and settle into the driver's seat. The engine hums. I check my side mirror. The street lamp's circle of light retreats as I pull away. On my dashboard, the wood chip sample lies in a sealed evidence bag. I tap it absently. Tomorrow, the lab might find DNA, or maybe not. Maybe, like everything else, it vanishes into ambiguity. Back at the station, the bright fluorescents sting my eyes. Forensics kits line the bench. Crime scene photos hang on a board. Lily's torn glove, the mud-caked boot, the shattered chain guard, and the bike, whole again, frame dusted with wood chips. I stare at the photograph of the carving. "Thank you." The letters are jagged but deliberate. Beneath them, the bark's grain seems to pulse, as if alive. Sergeant Harper enters, shrugging off her jacket. Her cheeks are pale. She moves with restless energy. "We ran the chips through every database, no matches," she says. "No prints, no DNA, no fibers. It's like the perpetrator stepped through a portal." I force a dry chuckle. "We got the same at the Hollow. The dog found nothing but the bike. No scent trail leading away." She sighs, pinching the bridge of her nose. "What do you think it means? The thank you note?" I lean back. Maybe they want us to think they're polite. Maybe they're thanking us for playing. Maybe it's sinister, like, "Thank you for finding this. Now the real fun begins." Harper stares at me, unblinking. "You think they'll strike again?" I meet her gaze evenly. I know they will. She rubs her jaw. "We need a plan. Community alert, PSAs. Tell parents to keep kids close. Night cameras in the park. Lights on motion sensors." She lists measures, breathing faster. "We can't let this go dark." I nod. "I'll draft the notice. And I want off-duty team sweeps every night until further notice. We can't predict where they'll pop up next, so we hit the entire perimeter. Woods, playgrounds, trails." She exhales. "All right." we'll do it. But Daniels, be careful out there. This one's personal. I glance at her, surprised. Personal? She shakes her head. Never mind, let's just get through this. The debrief drags on past midnight. I answer questions, sign forms, listen to the hum of copiers and distant phone calls. By the time I step out, the station is quiet. I rub my temples. Outside, the sky is ink black, stars hidden behind clouds. The wind stirs a loose paper in the parking lot. I retrieve it, a discarded coffee cup lid curled in on itself. My phone buzzes, a text from dispatch. All units, civilian report of flashlight beam in woods near Maple Street at 2:15 a.m. Officer Russo investigating. I frown. That's in 20 minutes. I check the time, 1:50. I have 20 minutes before Russo's call. I could drive out, see for myself. Or I could go home, try to sleep. But sleep is a lie. I pocket the phone and head back inside. At the evidence locker, I swap my service weapons magazine for a fresh one. I check the flashlight, batteries full. I grab my coat and badge. Harper catches me in the hallway. You heading out? She asks softly. I nod. Might as well. Russo's on his way, but I want to see it firsthand. She hesitates, then reaches into her pocket and pulls out a pair of leather gloves. Take these, and take my radio frequency. If anything happens, call me. I accept the gloves. They're warm, thicker than mine. I tuck them into my pocket. Thanks. She watches me, worry in her eyes. Be careful, Daniels. I give her a small, grim smile. Always. The cruiser's heater rattles as I head back toward Maple Street. Streetlights flicker on wet pavement. Earlier rain leaving puddles that mirror the dim glow. My reflection dances in each one. My heartbeat thumps in my ears. Every shadow seems to shift. I park near the same street lamp and step out, closing the door softly. I dial Russo's frequency. Russo, you copy? A crackle, then his voice, loud and clear. I'm at the edge of the woods. There's a beam dancing between trees. Looks like someone with a light. I creep forward, flashlight in hand. The beam cuts through the darkness ahead, swiveling, scanning. Russo's cruiser sits with lights off, engine idling. I approach slowly. Russo? He swings the light toward me. Relief washes over his face. Daniels, you made it. You see that? He points deeper into the tree line. I shine my beam where he's pointing. For a moment, I see nothing. Then, there, a flash of yellow near a massive oak. A child's jacket draped over a low branch, illuminated by Russo's beam. It's Lily's jacket, the same yellow. It hangs limp, as though caught by a breeze. But there is no breeze. My stomach drops. How did that get there? Russo swallows. I don't know. I just found it when I came in. I step closer. The jacket's sleeve brushes the leaf litter. Beneath, muddy footprints, small, child-sized, leading away into the darker wood. I crouch and examine them. They're fresh. The toes point deeper into the forest, toward a place we haven't searched. I stand and holster my flashlight. We follow. Call it in. Tell them we need backup, canines, everyone, now. Russo fumbles his radio. On it. I take a breath and step off the beaten path into the leaf-strewn floor. The woods close in. Branches scrape my coat. The footprints lead between two trunks into a narrow gully. My boots sink in damp earth. I follow without hesitation. Russo's beam bounces behind me. Daniels, wait! His voice cracks, but I keep going. The air grows colder, heavier. My breath mists. The narrow gully opens into a small clearing ringed by ancient trees. In the center, I stop dead. Lily's bike lies on its side, wheels still turning. The same rabbit sticker gleams. Next to it, the words, "You're next," carved deep into a stump. The new message drips with fresh sap, dark and glistening. I swallow, heart hammering. Christ. Russo arrives, flashlight trained on the stump. What does that mean? I shine my light on the carving. The letters are jagged, uneven, as though carved by scared hands. They want us to know this isn't over. They're not done. Russo pales. We should get out. I raise a hand, number. We stay, we document, but we don't leave until we know what we're dealing with. I pull on the gloves Harper gave me. I retrieve my phone and snap photos. Wide shots, close-ups. Every angle, the bike, the carving, the footprints entering and leaving. Behind me, I sense movement. I whirl around, gun drawn. The flashlight beam catches on something pale, slipping between trunks. A small shape, like a child. It darts away, faster than human. I fire a warning shot into the air. The night explodes with sound, silence. Then the shape reappears at the far edge of the clearing. An impossible silhouette. Slender, limbs too long, head tilted at an unnatural angle. It stands perfectly still, watching us. The yellow jacket's hood covers its face. I can't see eyes, but I feel them burning into me. "Who are you?" I shout, voice cracking. "What do you want?" The figure tilts its head as if considering. Then it raises one finger, a slow, deliberate gesture, and points back the way we came. "Go," it seems to say. I glance at Russo. His face is white. "Daniels, should we?" I lower my weapon slowly. We follow. The figure slips away, melting into the darkness. The footprints lead back through the gully. I pocket my phone and nod to Russo. We move as one, deeper into the woods, following that impossible guide. The forest seems alive around us. Branches whispering, leaves shifting. My flashlight flickers. My heart hammers. Every nerve screams to run, but I force my feet forward. At the gully's end, we climb the slope toward the hollow. Moonlight filters through the oaks. The hollow yawns before us. Empty now, save for the fallen tree trunk, bare of carvings. The bike is gone, the stump is gone, only disturbed leaf litter remains. I step into the center and scan around, nothing, no footprints, no shapes. The air is still. I feel exposed, vulnerable. Russo exhales. They vanished. I crouch and brush leaves aside. The earth here is soft. I see faint impressions, tiny toe prints like a child's, but they fade into nothing. As if whoever made them simply stepped out of our world. A wind stirs, the trees groan. I stand, heart in my throat. I know what this means. The game has moved. We followed the bait and lost it. Now we're deeper in the killer's labyrinth. I check my watch, 2:45 a.m. 2 hours since I found the bike the first time. 2 hours since the message carved in thanks. Now, a new message, carved in threat. And still no suspect. I turn to Russo. We get help. We pull everyone back to the edge, secure a perimeter, thermal cameras, drones, everything. We lock this place down until dawn. He nods, shaking. "Yes, sir." I radio it in. "Unit 12. We have a moving target, possibly multiple. Request air support, thermal, drones. Lock down the woods, no one in or out." The dispatcher responds immediately, urgency in her tone. "Copy that, Unit 12, all units notified." I glance skyward, imagining infrared eyes scanning the canopy. Then I look at the gully behind me, the path we came. It seems darker now, ominous. I step toward it, flashlight and gun raised. "Stay close," I tell Russo. We move out of the hollow, ready to push through the night. Behind us, the woods of Cedar Grove stand silent sentinel, hiding secrets carved in wood, echoes of laughter and terror, footprints that vanish into shadow. The game is on, and we're the players drawn into its center. I steel myself. This is what I signed up for. The hunter becomes the hunted again. and I will chase that figure, child or phantom, into the darkest heart of the forest until I uncover the truth, because someone out there thinks this is fun, and I intend to spoil their game.